dangerous, it was never meant to be seen again. Not buried in the sands of time, but hidden in silence by those who feared what it could awaken. It was not written by a priest or a prophet, but by a civilization the church tried to erase. A book filled with forgotten rituals, cosmic alignments, forbidden rites and symbols that echo louder than any sermon. For centuries...
Hi guys, welcome to my platform. Hi guys, welcome to my platform. Yeah, RJ. Hi guys, welcome to my platform. This is going to be a message for the collective. Collective, my messages are timeless. So when you see them is when you're meant to hear them. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Also, please don't forget to hit the post notification bell so you can get alerts when my videos are posted. If you're new to my platform, welcome. Please hit that subscription button. It would totally mean the world to me.
The Vatican has guarded its secrets with stone,
Have a wonderful
with
day.
fire, and with fear.
Love you more.
But deep beneath their archives, something older remained. A text wrapped in Egyptian magic, speaking of beings with wings of fire memory that could be broken, and a light that was stolen from humanity itself. This is not just lost history, this is stolen divinity. It is a story of mirrors, ciphers, relics, and silence, and it threatens the very timeline the church was built to protect.
We're going to start off with Al-Fatiha. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. All praises for Allah, Lord of all worlds, the most compassionate, most merciful. Master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us along the straight path, the path of those you have blessed, not those you are displeased with or those who are astray. Then next we're going to go into Proverbs. Proverbs. Psalms 91. It's the same every morning, not a proverb. So now I need to go look up something. Anyway, Psalms 91. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rapport. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you say the Lord is my refuge and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your tent. For He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Because He loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him with long life. I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Amen. All right, so today I got something that is coming from the Vatican Mysteries. It is called The Most Dangerous Text the Vatican Ever Found. And for context, consider the narrator always. The thing that I love about, what's happening. Pamela Anderson, welcome. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I love you. I woke this morning at 3:17 a.m. this morning saying this prayer, period. So I got something else for y'all. So if you didn't know, we were actually up this morning at 3 something on live too. So if you were there, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Now, so for those of you that are new here, y'all may not know that at nighttime I go to sleep listening to some of the strangest things. I used to go to bed listening to horror stories. All of a sudden now I have got into listening to whatever appears, right? Because I could fall asleep listening to one thing, apparently something else will show itself. Anyway, so I asked myself, self, what do you want to do with this life, right? And for me, I want to be able to be a help, right? Whether or not it's to God, to the universe, to existence, to the people, right? And in order to be a help, it's a lot of things that come with it. And sometimes we may go through some things that we may not understand, but when you're opening yourself up to God, to be able to help or to be able to be in existence to help, sometimes it's not the most desirable things, and sometimes it's the most amazing things. These things can, coexist at the same time, right? And so I'm allowing myself to be open to listening to the universe and to whatever's there, right? And if you don't understand that, it's not meant for you to. Your journey's your journey, my journey's my journey, right? For all intents purposes, God has never steered me wrong. And whether or not it is, baby steps for some and people want to jump me to here, there, and everywhere, I don't follow their direction. I follow the direction that I'm being led to, right? And again, people may not understand it and I get judged heavily. I don't care because they ain't got a heaven or hell to put me in. And so recently I've been led to a whole lot of ancient history because I also, if you don't know and you just got here, in 2022, I asked the universe to give me back everything that belonged to me, past, present, future. That's knowledge, that's information, that is whatever the universe knows is a part of me. I asked for that, right? And so, for all intents purposes, what we learn here on Earth School is that sometimes it's not always good. Sometimes there's past karma that goes along with that. So people will say, God, give me what belongs to me, not realizing that there's work that comes along with that. And when I say work, like if um, there is past karma or past trauma, it's something that I'm going to have to deal with. But at that moment in time, I told God that I was ready. And the fact that I know God don't play about me and God loves me, then I also knew that some of it could be hard to deal with, but also I knew that it wasn't going to be too much. So know that when you ask God to give you everything that belongs to you, past, present, and future, anything that belongs to you will always be for you, just so you know. But that goes along with love, hate, joy, everything. And so this moment in time right here, right now, I knew I was going to be ready for it. And with that being said, I have started to stumble across the most amazing things. And whether or not people want to say it's a past story or, a past allegory or a past whatever, they like to put on it. I'm able to hear what I need to get from it. And so I implore you to be the exact same way. Whatever is meant for you, take it and toss everything else to the wayside. So you'll hear, even when a person's narrating a story, because as I always say, there's even a little bit of truth in a lie. And what is meant for you to pick out, you will get and you will receive. And even when we're asking for the truth, we have to be mindful that it may not come the way we wish for it to. But God, I still can handle the truth. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna play some things for y'all, and I'm gonna talk in between it because this is not this is just a lesson. All right. So do with this information what you will.
So before the door closes, ask yourself, what if the greatest danger is not in reading the text, but in remembering it? Like the video, subscribe, because tonight we open the most dangerous book the Vatican ever found. It started with a rumor, whispers slipping through Cairo's crowded...
And one more thing I'm going to preface by saying, I think I know who the 144,000 is. And when I say I think I know, I'm almost 98% sure. And not because of this, but just because of what's been happening.
Alleys murmured in the shadows of crumbling temples and quiet cafes. An archaeologist had found something, not a statue, not a scroll, a book, bound in a strange black leather that shimmered like oil under the desert sun. No one could say where it came from. No one dared say who it really belonged to. But those who saw it swore it pulsed, like it was alive. The year was 1932. A European collector named Renaud had purchased it from a man who simply called himself the Keeper.
And one other thing is, anything that y'all listen to, anything that y'all hear, fact check it, because that's always what I do. So if it's specific things that you may not believe or you believe could be true or not, fact check it. Google's free.
The transaction happened in silence. No names, no documents. Only the book, wrapped in cloth, passed from one trembling hand to another. Renaud brought it back to his rented flat near the Nile and opened it by candlelight. What he saw inside made him forget to breathe. It wasn't just the writing, though even that was strange. Symbols that looked like hieroglyphs, but older, more fluid, more alive. It was the drawings, maps of stars that didn't match any known sky, human figures with no faces, eyes in the margins, diagrams that twisted into themselves like they were folding time. Renaud wrote one letter to a contact in Rome and then disappeared. Vanished, no trace. His apartment untouched, except the book was gone. 10 years passed. A war came and went. And then, in the back room of a forgotten monastery in southern Egypt, the book resurfaced. Hidden beneath cracked stone tiles, inside a box sealed with wax and etched in Greek, Latin, and something.
Our message today is the truth sounds crazy until you connect the dots. The deeper you look, the weirder it gets, and why. So I wrote a message this morning. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it up here.
Something far more ancient. The monks who found it didn't speak. They knew. They sent a message. Not to the local authorities, not to a museum, to the Vatican. Two men.
To the Vatican. And I keep telling y'all every day, the Vatican has a lot of stuff that why is everybody sending documents to the Vatican? Why is the Vatican so powerful to the tune that every time something surfaces, they are the keepers of it. They are the ones that find it. And after, or they're the ones that get it. They're not the ones that find it. And after they get it, they decide whether or not you should have it, I should have it, the world should have it, or they decide how they're going to corrupt it. Do with that information what you will.
Arrived the next day. They wore plain black robes and carried no identification. The head monk was never seen again. The manuscript was taken in silence. No photographs, no inventory.
And if you haven't figured out, team, who did the Vatican send? The Jesuits.
Only the lingering scent of candle smoke and something metallic in the air. The kind of feeling you get when something important leaves a room. Back in Rome, the manuscript was locked away, its existence denied. The Vatican called it dangerous, unstable. Some even said it was cursed, but the truth was more unsettling.
You know what's cursed? Something that you shouldn't have your hands on. You know what's cursed? Something you shouldn't have your hands on.
The book said. It was what it remembered, what it refused to forget.
And something that could be cursed for them could potentially not be a curse for you. Because, in case y'all don't know, you could have been the one that cursed it. You could have been a part of, the people, the places, and the things. Because what y'all going to hear is this. Throughout time, even when they allowed people to look at it, certain people didn't get touched as fast. But just imagine the Vatican being who they are and able to go and be called for anything. The master manipulators of the world. And I say that because they've been manipulating the world. Now, just imagine their stuff, because the Vatican will tell you that they were in possession of Egyptian relics and things of that nature because it was given to them. And nobody questions the Vatican because they hide behind the fact that we are the church, we are a part of God. They be lying. And if you ain't figured that out by now, give it some time.
A world before the Bible, before the church, before memory was rewritten. The story should have ended there, sealed behind marble and silence. But it didn't. Because sometimes a book doesn't just vanish. Sometimes it waits. It waits for someone who can read between the lines.
Someone who could read between the lines. It waits for the right person at the right time. It could be you. But you're never going to have a chance to look at it until it's the time. Because the Vatican's going to hold on to it until a lot of y'all decide and are ready to call your stuff back. The memories, the places. But a lot of y'all not ready for that. You want to know why? Because your mind is trained and conditioned. It's going to be blasphemous. Meanwhile, they're using your stuff. Meanwhile, your history keeps wanting to come to the surface. Meanwhile, God talks to you every day, but y'all ain't listening. Because y'all allowing these people to manipulate. And then you'll blame me.
That's what was erased. And that's where this story begins. The monastery looked forgotten. Its stone walls crumbled under the desert heat. The crosses etched into the sandstone were faded and cracked like they were holding in secrets. No one had prayed there in decades, maybe centuries. But something beneath the surface was still waiting. It started when a team of archaeologists arrived with a grant to study early Coptic Christian ruins. Nothing unusual, just another expedition in a land full of bones and broken columns. But 3 days into the dig, one of them heard a hollow sound, not an echo, a voice trapped in stone. They dug deeper, cleared sand with their hands when the tools seemed too loud. And then the floor gave way. Beneath the monastery was a hidden vault, perfectly sealed, carved with symbols no one could identify. Not Greek, not Latin, not even hieroglyphs. Something older. Something no one wanted to admit might be real. The team hesitated. It felt wrong, cold, like the air hadn't moved in thousands of years. But curiosity always wins. Inside, they found artifacts wrapped in cloth that hadn't rotted. Objects made of materials they couldn't explain. A mirror polished to a perfect black surface that reflected nothing. A staff carved with spirals that twisted into infinity. And scrolls.
So, I implore y'all to go look up the Garden of Dilium. What is the Garden of Dilium, you say? The Garden of Dilium was an ancient paradise described in the Sumerian and Mesopotamian texts thousands of years before modern times. It appears in myths from civilizations like the Sumer and Babylonia. Dilium was described as a pure sacred land, a place without sickness or death, a land where lions did not kill and people did not grow old, a place connected with the gods and creation. In one famous Sumerian text called Enki and Nishirgag, could have just butchered that, but charged it in my head, not my heart. Charged it to the U.S. education system, okay? Dilium is described almost like a perfect garden paradise. The god Enki blesses the land with fresh water, causing it to become fertile and abundant. Some descriptions say, the raven utters no cry, the lion kills not, the wolf snatches not the lamb. They, put it in a little nice little wrapped up, how we do Miss Mary Matt, because I need your mind to remember. I need to jog your memory. I need you to rewind the time. For some reason, give Michael Jackson. Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time when we first met? Yeah. All right. So when that happens, that means that during this existence and during this time, there was somebody that is alive that was from that existence and that time right here, right now, same as you. Y'all may not want to believe it. You may not want to listen to it. But also over here, it said, the truth sounds crazy until you connect the dots. The deeper you look, the weirder it gets. Why? Because I'm going to tell you why. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Like anything that I'm reading? Paradise gardens, places tied to creation, connected with rivers and fertility, places where suffering did not exist. Historians believe Dilian, was also a real trading civilization located around modern day Bahrain and the Persian Gulf, ancient Mesopotamia. Did y'all hear what I said? Historians believe Dilium was a real trading civilization located around modern day Bahrain. Dilium existed before Eden. Dilium was written into history in tablets, and then the Catholic Church and the Christian folks that, wanted to control gave y'all the Garden of Eden. They took stories from ancient times and put it all together under control. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. I can almost guarantee it. But either way, we're going to say it anyway. So I'm going to just tell y'all right now, I love life and I'm looking forward to finding out more about it. And I don't have no plans on exiting or expiring. And the number one rule of Earth School is don't die. Okay? So because I know the number one rule of Earth School, and because this is the closest all of us are going to get to uncovering, untangle, untie, undo, rewind, restoration, move them out of the way. So historians believe Dilium was also a real trading civilization located around modern day Bahrain, a real wealthy land, and a spiritual or mystic paradise is what they ended up later on coming to the conclusion. Because when they can't control it, describe it, or explain it, what they do is get rid of it. But they can't get rid of everything. Because just like them books, if they exist on this realm and they belong to anybody or the information or your history, call it back. Wealthiest Risings, Renee, thank you for being here. So archaeologists have found. So again, you can go look it up. You don't have to believe me. Don't trust me. Don't trust me. Don't trust them. Why you trusting them more than you trust yourself? You ain't got to trust me either. Go look it up. Archaeologists have found burial mounds, temples, trade records, seals connecting Dilium with Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley civilization. Some researchers think that the idea of paradise gardens and later traditions may have been influenced by older Mesopotamian stories like Dilium. Y'all book ain't got nothing new under the sun. Actually, what y'all book got is some restructuring. They've been lying the whole time. They've been corrupting history. And I'm going to say this out loud because I want them charged. I want them charged with crimes against humanity. Why? Because destroying history and covering it up and acting as if you did it should be a crime. Y'all did that to cover up history to create slaves because they said slavery is one of the biggest things, a crime against humanity. That's what the United Nations and the World Court said. But in order for them to create the slaves, they had to lie about history. So y'all trying to get whoever nations, but the Vatican has to be charged as well. Europe, Rome, Spain, Germany, everybody. But the Vatican the most. because they're holding on to information that could help with everybody. So if we call in people to the floor to be accountable, everybody has to be held accountable. And can't nobody say, well, oh, this happened during ancient times. Well, if you're setting your ass in the seat right now, then you fix it. In order for you not to become a part of it and your ass is sitting in any of the seats, fix it. You don't have to be morally corrupt like your forefathers before you. You can change it today and now. So yesterday, I ran across the fact that Yale has their records, a lot of their records, their book records online. And so what I was actively looking for was this, because a young man said,
Yale owns one of the largest collection of forbidden magic books on earth. Okay, so if you a witch or a warlock or whatever else y'all got going.
All right, so Yale owns one of the largest collections of forbidden books. So I went to go look for these forbidden books. Now, I didn't happen to run across the forbidden books because of the way the archive is set up. I don't know if I just didn't look well or not. So I'm not going to blame them. What I'm going to say is this. What I ran across, and maybe that might have been the intention the whole entire time, what I ran across was diaries, journals of people from 19 or 18, da 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 da. Now, the issue that I was having a little bit was like when you click on something, it don't actively go to, so their website could be having issues. Anyway, I'm giving you the information and maybe there's something there for you, because why do they have journals? People's manuscripts, people's photos, and things of that nature. Anyway, long story short, one of them I was able to get into. And then I noticed it's written in cursive. And for all intents purposes, I can read cursive. Mind you, this is the cursive that is very well structured. Like, so when they were teaching us cursive writing back in the day, like there was actual line structures. Like you would write a capital L like this. Later on, like doctors and scribble and all that shit. So if it's written like that, you can kind of decipher it, but maybe not. So it's like a hidden language inside of a language. Either way, you heard what this young man said. He has music in here too, so I can't really play what he's saying, but there's books that he pulled up that I couldn't find.
Thank you. The best part? Yale digitized almost all of it. You can read books medieval rulers killed people for from your couch for free. Your move. Save this for your next 2 a.m. rabbit hole.
So I'm gonna just say this. Because Yale is making that move, Yale is basically deciding not to be a part of the covering the hidden history, because you don't have to go to Yale in order to read the books, because Yale knows that, information is for everybody. And you shouldn't have to pay whatever their tuition is, but we've seen some that said $74,000 maybe a semester. You don't have to be a part of the elite or the wealthiest or the rich to be able to deal with history. But there's also this thing. I can lead a horse to water, but you won't drink. Like, how they said, and I don't mean to use it like this, but this is the way I'm gonna say it. If you want to hide something from a nigger, put it in a book. That was what they said. Now, y'all may have changed it, nigga, niggas, nigga. Either way, do with that information what you deem to do, because in our lifetime, niggas is more than black. Niggas be white people, Spanish people, da 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 da. We don't care. If you existing on a human race, we call you nigga too, okay? Take it how it resonates. Anyway, researchers think the idea of the paradise gardens is later traditions may have been influenced by older Mesopotamian stories like Dilium, though there's no proof that they're the exact same place. but Dillium existed. Did you know about Dillium? Or did you only know about the Garden of Eden? Because if you didn't know about Dillium, then I'm sure it was a reference towards the garden. Anyway, it was lush greenery in the middle of desert lands, flowing fresh water springs, palm trees and fruit gardens, glowing temples and sacred rivers. Glowing temples and sacred rivers. So I'm going to tell y'all something that's happening right now in, 2020 AC, after Christ. The Asian people, and I don't mean to say it like that because, it may just be the Chinese. They created solar panels in the desert. And y'all can go look this up. And so what happens with the solar panels in the desert, it started creating dew. So because of the dew started happening on the screens, because, they had windshield wipers, it created water. Water going into the desert now created grass. Grass created a problem because of the fact that now it's covering up the solar panel. So they brought in goats. The goats multiplied, da-da-da-da-da. So the desert can actually actively grow nature. But also throughout history and throughout time, again, if it's a lie, they also have told it. There are certain people who are cursed. So if you live on a portion of the land, it's not going to yield anything for you. But if a person who the land will yield for, also AKA they started having slaves, because if it can't yield for you, for them, then they would get it to yield for you because the land will yield for you. So now you enslaved. Anyway, long story short, not the same, but the actual same. The desert started growing lush greenland. Also, throughout history, it's places that they know were green, but then all of a sudden they came along and they started doing stuff. And then the land wouldn't yield. Now we got, deforestation, and they're killing the earth at record rates because they need to kill the earth in order to give you a place to stay. But mind you, if you kill the earth to give you a house, sooner or later, nobody's going to have a place to stay. Go fucking figure. But maybe I'm wrong.
Scrolls so brittle they seemed to whisper when touched. But the real shock wasn't what they found. It was what they didn't expect. One of the scrolls held a symbol that matched a fragment found earlier in the Vatican's own archives. A symbol that had never been publicly shown, that was supposed to have been destroyed. Yet here it was.
Here it was.
In Egypt, beneath a Christian monastery, written in a language that shouldn't exist. The lead archaeologist wanted to document everything, but two of his team members left the site without warning. One claimed he had a dream where the vault opened itself and showed him something that made him cry for hours. The other refused to speak at all, just packed his things and walked into the desert. Within a week, the site was shut down.
I got a question for y'all, and it's going to be a big one. Any of y'all as young kids felt pulled to Egypt without ever going there, without ever being there? You would watch, you liked anything pertaining to that. Lost Treasure, Indiana Jones, like your spirit has been being called to ancient artifacts. Because if the answer is yes, I'm talking to you.
The official report said structural collapse, no funding, no access, nothing to see. But everyone who had been there knew better. The monastery wasn't just a ruin, it was a mask. And whatever it was hiding had been hidden on purpose. Some believe the vault predates not just Christianity, but all known history. That it belonged to a civilization erased from memory. A culture that didn't worship gods, but spoke to them, traded with them, documented them. Whatever the truth is, the Vatican moved fast. The site is now off limits. Satellite images blurred. Records sealed.
Who told the Vatican that they own the earth? Who told the governments that they own the earth? Why do they think that they're allowed to just and move around and shift things around the way they want to. If, matter of fact, I'll hold that.
The desert has buried it again, but not forever, because the sand only hides what memory forgets, and memory is starting to wake up. The first time someone opened the manuscript, they expected dust and brittle parchment. Instead, they found pages that felt like skin but weren't. Smooth and cold, almost too perfect, bound in obsidian black leather that seemed to drink in the light. It didn't reflect, it absorbed, like it knew what it was hiding. The symbols inside weren't hieroglyphs, not really. They had the shape of Egyptian writing, but not the logic. They curved in impossible directions. Some looked like they were meant to move. Others shimmered when touched, like heat rising off stone. Linguists tried to categorize them. Greek roots, maybe. No. Phoenician? No. Sumerian? Closer, but still wrong. This wasn't just an ancient language. It was a forgotten one.
And what's funny about this to me is this. Yesterday was the first time of me hearing this, right? And I don't know how many people that's connected to my channel that is here. But do y'all remember when I told y'all I did past life regression? It is one of the things, like, it's being led in guided, I can't think of the word right now. Guided meditation, right? And going into the Akashic records, right here. So going into the Akashic records, right? Akashic records, for you, people will say, oh, well, we went into your Akashic records and this, that, and the third. People be lying, right? The Akashic records that are for the world are actively documented. It's things that you can find, throughout history. But there's some things that could be hidden in your Akashic records that people will say, they can give you. Anyway, long story short, I did a guided meditation into Akashic records one time. And when I got in there, I was telling everybody, I said, it was funny because walking through the first door, it was ancestors, people that I never seen before in my life. But at first, I was a little nervous going through the door because I was thinking that the ancestors would be, kind of disappointed. Like, y'all let this happen. Mind you, when I walked through the door, all these people were cheering and yelling and everything for me, right? Mind you, these people bowed to me, which threw me off because, again, I'm walking through the door thinking we messed up history, not realizing they were happy that I even showed up. Anyway, long story short, I told y'all the story of how I got through that door. Then I had to go through another door. When I went through this door, it was big and it was colors. It was lavish. All the colors were richer than any color you've ever seen before. Anyway, long story short, the man that came and got me, Majestic Grace, love you. Wealthiest Horizons, thank you for being here. I fell asleep on your live and just woke up. Girl, I got more. Okay? Like, listen. I think I know who the 144,000 is. Like, literally. And so, and like I said to them, I think I'm 98% sure. And the only reason why I don't have the other percentages because I can't prove something. And it's not going to be until the something, and I did the something already. And if I can do the something and achieve it, because if they show me the something, then I'm going to be 100% sure. Anyway, I'm excited. Like, y'all do not realize my spirit is excited. Because although I know everything that, is against us, the odds are against us, I know we win in the end. I know God wins in the end. I know the roadmap that God has given us in order to get beyond what these people did. She said, let's get it. That you talk that shit, I like that. I like that. because there's people that's going to stand in the way, your friends, your family, this, that, and the third, because of the fact that they don't get it. They don't understand. The mind is conditioned. The mind is trained. With you being outside, it's like jailbroken, like a jailbroken iPhone. It's not controlled. It's not like y'all, even that, everything was already here. And so a lot of people don't get it, but eventually they will, because when it talks about the mass collective, the awakening, it is more than just us. But then there's this thing, because just because people will be able to, come to the recollection of something, I'm gonna just say this. Something is shifting. People everywhere are beginning to question what they once accepted without thought. Patterns are being noticed. Connections are being made. Old systems, old beliefs, old fears are no longer holding the same power, because a lot of people are saying they recognize patterns. And if they recognize patterns, then they see that this earth ain't new. Even when they talk about the Anunnaki, that's not the beginning either. It goes further than even them. And that story came from another story, and it's like it's being passed down, but there's something at the beginning of that. The collective awakening doesn't begin when everyone agrees. It begins when people start asking deeper questions. Also, I don't have to talk to you. Like these words that I'm giving, it's supervision. Sooner or later, the words will just go out. It's just a thought. Like, I know in real life, I can make things move by talking to it. But I know also in real life, I can make things move by thinking it. And when that starts to happen on a record scale or a faster, it's going to be the thing where you get looked at as crazy, but meanwhile, and that's the title, it's not limited to me. It's not limited to only a select few. It's if you have this blood, this DNA, this adaptation, you can do it too. The truth sounds crazy until you connect the dots. The deeper you look, the weirder it gets. Why? Well, I can tell you the why. It's because we've been conditioned to think that human beings have limitations, because this body is fragile. It could get, this, that, or the third. But meanwhile, when you start to get beyond that, y'all, it's just a lot. And again, my body feels excited. My body feels excited that I'm even getting remotely closer, because we should have failed, we didn't. Where we should have failed, because everything that they've been doing, we should have failed. But mind you, we that close to breaking the shackles.
One that didn't evolve into anything else. It vanished or was erased. One expert said it looks like a form of pre-dynastic communication. But the problem with that theory was simple. Pre-dynastic Egyptians didn't write. They drew. They painted. They didn't bind books in black leather and etch spells into the margins. Because that's what they were. Spells. Rituals. Not prayers.
Majestic Grace, you asked about this yesterday. I told you I had something.
Some of the pages were written backward, not mirrored, backward, as if they were meant to be read by something on the other side. Others had no big.
Which is funny because Arabic and a couple there, it's written backwards, which also is telling everybody that nothing is new under the sun. You read it backwards. Y'all, it's because it was already here.
Beginning or end. Just continuous loops of text that trapped your eyes until you looked away or got dizzy. There were no chapter breaks, no explanations, just simple.
Oh, and what I was getting ready to say a minute ago, Majestic Grace, then you came in. What I was getting ready to say was going into the Akashic Records. walking through the door, because then you have your own door. I had my own door, a big old door, right? You got to open it door. But mind you, I look tiny going through this door because this door is huge. Like it looked like it would be made for giants. Um, Going through the door, and just another thing, I've seen the Chinese Nephilim, the Chinese giants. And mind you, Chinese people are small for all intents purposes, but then the basketball players, these women are fucking huge. Mind you, the African, the guys that went to Mr. Beast thing, fucking huge. But fucking huge. Anyway, so huge doors. They probably would look still tiny going through these doors. Anyway, going through the doors, dragon here, animals all around, books full. Get to the side, go in, go around. There's a book that's there. The book, I said the words were moving on the book. Do you remember me telling y'all that, Majestic Grace? So the fact that this is saying what I said as well, because that's why I went to saying that, about how this book looked in the text, and then they said the book was moving around. That's how the book in my Akashic records was, and I had not heard this. This was years ago, and now I'm hearing it on a story. Hey, Akin.
Layered over more symbols, every page more cryptic than the last. What disturbed?
She said, but that makes sense because we're still living. That's what I'm saying. And it was just so strange in order, like, because how did I see something, but it was for me. Remember, I told you the book ended up slamming. I never got into the book. Why? Because something triggered me beforehand to know that it was like somebody was trying to remote view me. And so, but the thing was, they told a lie, because remember, I told you the thing that triggered me was the fact that I can't love you. Thanks for being here. The thing that triggered me was the little girl that was sitting on the ground had on a black dress. And my mom told me that I always wore white, like, because I told y'all the story. My mom wanted me into this realm. Like, I wasn't an oopsie baby. My mom told my dad, and she'll tell y'all the story too, that if you don't have, you get one night, one shot at this. Because she was mad that he had somebody else pregnant. And so she told him, you better put a baby in me too, or you're never going to get none of this cat ever again. Like, that's the story she told me. That's the story she told me on the phone with my dad on the phone. Like, mind you, in this year, they was on the phone and my mom told me this story again. So I was wanted into this realm. Mind you, also, when I came into this realm, online and active because, and I mean to say this based off of, I was having a period because of whatever it was. My mom thinks it's because of them giving her something during me, during her pregnancy. But when I came into this realm, my mom had to like change diapers with blood in them. So several different things that I know for a fact. And then my mom said the whole entire time, like, she never let nobody put nothing, like, I always had new clothes. And I asked my dad one time, I said, how was you a young rich nigga at this time? Like, because my dad, mind you, I got a picture of my dad. My dad was very, very handsome. My mom, very beautiful. So I love my genetics. I love my genetic makeup. Just like I told people, like, I ain't never had no problem with getting no nigga because, I know what to do. But, I'm not allowed to be doing certain things that. Anyway, long story short, that book showed me a little girl sitting on the ground with a black dress. I know enough about me coming into this realm, even my grandmother holding me, my grandmom's holding me, and they have a white wrap over top of me. My mom at one point in time also told me a story about this lady stopping her and telling her something about me coming into, life, which is weird, but and then it ended up happening. So there's some things that have happened that my mom made sure that I knew, or that I was made sure that I was told, to where that book didn't look right. And they asked me about a name. Mind you, the funny part about the name is I gave them my name right here in existence. That's not the name they wanted from me. The name that they wanted from me is the land before time. And mind you, the other thing is this. The Never Ending Story has been one of my favorite books. It's the titles. And that's why I tell y'all all the time, the title is always right. I don't care what we talk about during this thing. The title is what's being given and what's being made in order for me to remember. Also, in order for you to remember. This is how, like, the childhood lullabies, the childhood Miss Mary, Matt, all dressed in black, that type of thing. Those things are meant for us to remember. So there's keys that go into it, and there's something else that I can tell y'all, but I can't tell y'all that because I use it as a thing. But there's another title that came up, and mind you, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite things, but the title is always right. And the reason why it's one of my favorite things is because it's the title. The actual meat and potatoes of the book is important too, but the title is always right. So the Never Ending Story is right. Why? It's in circulation. It is reincarnation. It is a restart of everything. It is us being here multiple times, even if you don't have to believe it, and maybe this ain't your lifetime that you believe it, but there's a lot of people that are online and going to come online because there's something that's important about this moment in time. This is the moment that we change it. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Renee, Riri, hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Riri said, Majestic Grace said, yup. Majestic Grace said your mama wasn't playing and wasn't. And mind you, like I said, I'm 50 and she made sure I knew that story again. She'd already told me, but she literally had my dad on the phone in this year and said it again. So something about it is important. Like, you wasn't a neglected child. My mom ran with me, just so y'all know. Like, my grandmother was trying to do some stuff, and she technically hauled ass with me from another location, from one location to another. So, like, she tells the story, she had to escape because my grandmother was trying to, how back then, even now, it's like when you're underage or you're still in school, like, her and my dad basically said they kidnapped me. They didn't kidnap me because I was their kid, but my grandmother was doing some strange ass shit, and so they wanted to get away from my grandmother. So her and my dad took me from where they were and went to a whole nother state, went to New Jersey. And it's funny because New Jersey, Lakewood, New Jersey, is where there's something also happening with that Jewish community. And I'm telling you, y'all, it's like the same thing circles your life. Mind you, I got a page from a book that is old, right? Very, very old. And it talks about the Jewish people in there. Like, them people been doing, and I'm not against nobody or anything else. It's something about these people that they literally they try to corrupt everywhere they go and everything that they do. This page is, let me see, where is this lady at? Because for some reason, I always screenshot the stuff. It say, oh, this might be something else. Judah Bethlehem, various opinions have been entertained by the learned with regard to the situation of the Garden of Eden. That's weird because I forgot that I actually did this. This is about the Garden of Eden also, but I just gave y'all the information about the other thing. Dillium. Riri said that it's so weird the Never Ending Story sits out in my head as a big story from my childhood. Yes, it was one of my favorite books. One of my not favorite books. I seen it as a movie as a kid, and it was one of my favorite stories, Atreyu. Because you have to stop the nothing from, damaging and destroying the earth. And a lot of us don't realize, like, we are the victor, and then there's an antagonist in our life that is, trying to corrupt the situation. And being a small person, because Atreyu was a child, but everybody at that time was a child. And mind you, I think that was symbolic of, like, the amount that we know. Like, it looks great as a story, as a child, the triumphant, but it's technically, even like with us right now, the amount of information that they try to steal from us and have stolen from us, like, the key point though is for us to remember. That's how we get out of the loop. Renee, hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Renee said, I remember that Miss Mary Mack, I've noticed every 10 years saying some comes back around. Yes. Mind you, and then it's how you remember, because some people remember it differently. Some people remember it in a longer version, all dressed in black with silver buttons all down her back. She paid her she asked her mother for 15 cent to see the elephants. She jumped the fence. She jumped so high that she never came back to the 4th of July. What is on the 4th of July? Because technically, whatever that story is telling us, whatever the 4th of July is what we should be remembering. So let's look up what's the 4th of July is. Because again, this is how a lot of things is being uncovered, because we didn't pay attention. We just thought it was a little, nursery rhyme. But mind you, it was telling us so much more. So let me see real quick. That's Independence Day, but that's not Independence Day for us. But something about it is important, because I can almost guarantee you that something about it, even throughout history, is important. She said, bingo, we got to pay attention to those context clues. And you ain't never fucking lied. So Independence Day, 4th of July. She didn't come back to the 4th of July. Miss Mary Matt, all dressed in black with silver buttons. What's the silver buttons? Silver buttons can mean different things depending upon the context. Here is the most common meaning. On the silver button, and folk, okay, I'm gonna just read what it says, because we don't know what could be important, because right now, if there was a second internet, this is the second internet. So of course it means that it would have already existed. Nothing is new under the sun. So it says, on YouTube, a silver play button is an award creators get for reaching 100,000 subscribers from YouTube. It says, in fashion or symbolism, silver buttons can represent status, rank, elegance, or military uniforms down her back, right? Pamela said ministry. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna go back and read everything y'all saying. And it says, in fashion or symbolism, silver buttons can represent status, rank, elegance, or military uniform. To me, down her back would be elegance. I'm gonna ask it what the Miss Mary Matt is anyway. Miss Mary Mack or Matt. See, that's another thing. In music or literature, silver buttons are sometimes used symbolically for wealth, stars, moons, or spiritual imagery. In old folklore and metaphysical discussion, silver is often associated with the moon, intuition, protection, or reflection. Why did the moon bring something though? Like silver buttons, it would be moon. That's what I think. All right. The childhood story, or whatever that would be, of Miss Mary Okay, it's Miss Mary Mack. Miss Mary Mack is a popular children's hand clapping rhythm that has been passed down for generations. And once y'all know that it's been passed down for generations, why? Because it was important for us to remember. In the United States, but it's not just in the United States. I done seen women in other countries doing that. And mind you, I've seen women on TikTok basically comparing what was being said, because some people said it in a different way than what we said it. In the United States and other English-speaking countries, the most common version goes, Miss Mary Mack, all dressed in black, with silver buttons, all down her back. But then they stop right here. So I wonder why they don't have the rest of it. No one knows the exact origin, or there are several theories about what it really meant. Most historians and folklore believe that it is mainly a playground rhyme used for rhythm games, not a hidden code and story. That's a lie. Everything's a code. But over time, people have connected it to different ideas. Some say silver buttons refer to fashion styles from the late 1800s or military uniforms. Others think that the rhyme may have roots in minstrel era songs or vaudeville traditions. Miss Pamela said ministry. There are folk theories linking it to mourning clothing dressed in black, but there is no solid evidence that this was the original meaning. Like many nursery rhymes, people later attach symbolic or darker interpretations to it. When was the first time it was said? In history. Okay, so now all of a sudden it's having a little bit of a brain fart. All right, let me go over here to y'all. It says the earliest known printed version of Miss Mary Mac appeared in the 1800s or 1900s, though the rhyme was likely passed down orally before that. Folklores and children's rhyme researchers have traced the versions of it back to the 1880s, 1900s. In the United States, it became especially widespread through schoolyard hand clapping games during the 20th century. There isn't a single confirmed first version because playground rhymes change from region to region and were usually shared by memory rather than written record. Researchers and folklore study collections. Y'all, it was important for a reason, I'm telling you. What was the whole saying? Let's see. She asked her mother for, oh, it was 50 cents. But why did okay, so I think I said 15 cents for 50 cents. She asked her mother for 50 cents. No, it was 15. She asked her mother for 15 cents. It might have been 50, but I swear it's 15. What do y'all remember? Is it, hi Mike, love you, thank you for being here. Is it 15 or 50, y'all? Because I remember 15. 15 flows better. For 50 cents to see the elephant. 50 cents back then. Well, how much would 50 cents be back then? How much, and see, this might be the translation. How much money was 50 cents worth back then and now? All right, so to see the elephants jump over the fence. They jumped so high, they reached the sky. They never came back to the 4th of July. Something ain't right about that. All right, so back then, if the rhyme was being sung around the late 1800s, 1900s, then 50 cents was actually a decent amount of money for a child. So 50 cents in 1900 would be about $19 or $20 today. Back then, 50 cents could buy things like several meals, train, a trolley fare, movie fare admission, candy, and small toys. What about 15 cents? Thought it was, that's what I'm saying. What about, that would make more sense. I remember when penny candy was around. So 50 cents seemed like a lot of fucking money for back then. That don't make sense. So about 15 cents in 1900s would be worth roughly around $5, $6 a day, depending upon the exact year inflation or calculator used. Back then, 15 cents could still buy quite a bit, such as a simple meal or a snack, a trolley fare, admission to some attractions. It's 15 cents. I know it. Candy, newspaper, or small good. Coins had a stronger buy power than, because every day was a good way, that every day goods and wages were much lower than it. It has to be 15 cents. All right, but anyway, you see how that was corrupted. So there's that.
People most wasn't that they couldn't translate it. It was that parts of it felt familiar. A symbol that looked like a distorted ankh. A line that resembled the Hebrew aleph, but stretched like it was screaming. Things from different languages and ages all crammed together, like they were trying to speak with one voice.
Period. And that's why it's like this thing. So then Renee says, I remember that, Miss Mary Mac. I've noticed every 10 years the same thing comes back around. She also said that my grandmother told me I'm a special child and she always kept me close. I never knew what she was talking about, still trying to figure this out. Riri says, I always prayed for world peace as a child. I also felt pulled to protecting the earth. She also says, I also feel like I channeled this reading yesterday. Period. Okay. Majestic Grace says, bingo. We got to pay attention to those context clues. It's important. Pamela says, my mom doesn't remember a lot about when she was young, but she did remember her aunt and uncle went to Israel as ministry. Oh, and she wasn't even talking about the Miss Mary Matt thing, but the ministry actually went into that. I thought she was meaning the ministry when she said that. But she said they went to Israel as when they were younger. Renee says she jumped so high, she touched the sky. That's all I can remember. But I remember that because literally you had to stay in rhythm. It was 1, 2, under, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's some girls that did it on TikTok. They did it really, really well. But there's an underhand, and then let go, clap. But everything probably is important to the system. Mike, how was your night? Majestic Grace says, I thought it was 15 cents. Me too. No silver buttons. Oh, you don't remember the silver buttons part? That's what they said. Silver buttons all down her back. I remember that part. I'm tripping. Just got up. Excuse me, y'all. Pamela Adams says, I remember doing it when I was little, but I can't remember the words. I can't remember the clap rhythm. Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Something underhanded. Pat, click, y'all. And I know y'all may not think this is important, but I promise you everything be important. It's almost like things that they was trying to tell us via, nursery rhymes and things of that nature. But also this is the reason why certain things have been easily able to be corrupted. Because people not.
Now let's talk about the scary meaning behind Miss Mary Mac. Now, like I mentioned before, a lot of these nursery rhymes, kid-friendly books. Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black, with silver buttons, all down her back. I know y'all remember that shit. I know how many childhood rhymes we have sang so innocently. And you really look at them with fresh eyes, they hit a lot different. This one is definitely one of them ones.
What I tell you about them fresh eyes?
A few more for y'all. We gotta start with this one, because I used to think this was talking about military, especially talking about the buttons down her back, because who else was wearing that? And I came across one story, and I'm holding on to it, because it sounds legit. Now, like I said, for most of us, this chant was like a fun childhood clapping game for us. Did you know it might have roots in a deeper, darker, real-life story? The story goes, in a quiet southern town, there was a woman named Big Mary. But there she go right there. She became the heart of a haunting legend. Was supposedly abandoned as a child and later found refuge in the church, which, go figure. Later started working as a caretaker for the town's graveyard. The thing about Big Mary's that she was strong enough to lift the caskets on her own. She ain't need no help. Even real Rasputia vibe. Well, as you can imagine, she was awe and fear from the children. They didn't know what to think. The children used to tease her with this song. Sad for them, all hell broke loose. Let's just say that was the last song that they sang. Fast forward to when we started singing it. It said that we were chanting her, and whenever she appeared on that third chant, would show up.
Yo, Renee said Maybe it's the 3 in everything. And then she says it.
Who's chanting for her for burial? That shit just took a wild turn because what? The thing about it, that was just one of many. I mean, think about it. We was singing Ring Around the Rosie, pocket full of posies. I remember when I was a kid, I used to do this playground clapping game called Miss Mary Mac, right?
Even the white people.
Mary Mac, all dressed in black, with silver buttons all down her back. And you just,
she did it! She did it. She ain't wrong. That is exactly right. Look at this.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to do this playground clapping game called Miss Mary Mac, right? And it would go Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black.
Yes.
With silver buttons all down her back. And it said she asked her mother for 50 cents to see the elephants jump the fence. 50 cents.
To see the elephants jump the fence. Oh.
Abraham Lincoln, the Republican Party, they were elephants jumping the fence. That was in reference to...
Why she out of breath?
It was in reference to freedom. It was in reference to war. They jumped the fence. It took so much of their... they took so much of a leap that they touched the sky. They died. And they did not come back until the 4th of July. So when they started the U.S., 1776, a symbol, 6 white stripes on the flag.
She said this is a symbol.
Right? What's up? As above, so below. Red is on the top, red is on the bottom. That's right. So they're saying the black community.
Oh, she said it's a spell, and she's saying it's 50 on. Oh, y'all, she's saying we was casting spells. 7 Hebrew slaves were freed every 7 years.
Sorry, saying, yep, it's happening.
The shit is this. Look at what she has. What are they talking about right now? Because they talking about it's the 250-year anniversary. What the fuck is there? And remember I told y'all about the Jubilees, like the book that the Vatican, the church took out something, the book of Jubilees. And they call it the Lesser Genesis because every 50 years there's a Jubilee. The Bible was counted, mind you, and I'm telling y'all stories that go back before that because literally what they did was they took the information from something that happened before and they tried to use it as control. And so every 50 years there's a Jubilee, but this is how you keep the original timeline. Your memory is the biggest thing because if they can get you to forget, they can reset. We're not resetting. We are restoration. Every 7 years, there was supposed to be free. It's in a book of Jubilees. So literally, they was trying to tell each other about the damn book.
But it's only going to happen 1, 2, 3 times, and then we're going to get together. The end of the whole zodiac sign, right? Our community and the tribal community was saying the actual esoteric knowledge of the whole zodiac cycle of how many times we're going to go through this before we are free. And just
because 7 years, and then they lied. They took y'all. I'm telling y'all, the Catholic Church, the Vatican. These people are wicked as they are wicked. And I'm telling you right now, so literally it was supposed to be a memory of every 7 years you're supposed to free the slaves. It's in the book of Jubilees. But they've been keeping slaves way, way longer. They've been trying to hold you down way, way longer. Just like right now, they're trying to do this. Oh, y'all are about to get y'all ass handed to y'all in a big time. Okay, so, however, look at God uncovering. See what I'm saying? Memory. Love you, lady. Whatever your name is, love is all that matters. Her name is Love is All That Matters. Love you, lady. Back to the message.
A voice no one wanted to hear. Then there were the margins.
That
filled
is
with
crazy.
tiny drawings, not decorative, observational. Images of temples that don't exist on any map. Celestial diagrams of moons and stars that orbit nothing. And faces. So many faces. But none had eyes. Just empty sockets. Every face looking straight out of the page. Everyone seeming to know you were there. The Vatican called the book unstable. Said it wasn't safe to keep it in the main archives. That it had to be locked in a subvault.
And y'all have to be mindful that it don't belong to them. That's the reason why it's unstable. It's not hurting nobody that it belongs to. It's hurting them because they should not have it.
Usually reserved for cursed relics and condemned texts.
Condemned text. Condemned text is text that interrupts what they have going on.
No one could read it, and yet everyone who tried saw something different, as if the book changed itself, depending on who held it. One scholar went blind after 3 days of study. Another claimed he could hear the pages breathing at night. A third simply vanished. All that was left was his notebook, and written on the final page were 4 words. It's not a book. The first translator was a professor in Milan. Quiet, careful, known for his work on ancient languages no one else could read. When the manuscript arrived in his office, he thought it was just another curiosity. He opened it, took notes, spent 4 nights trying to match the script with anything in his records. On the 5th night, his housekeeper found him collapsed on the floor. No marks, no wounds. His heart had just stopped. The last thing he'd written on his desk was a single phrase underlined twice. Not meant for us. A week later,
not meant for us.
A linguist took over. This one was younger.
Meaning them, the Vatican.
Arrogant. He believed in science, not superstition. He laughed at the idea of a curse. He lasted 2 days. A security guard found him slumped over the manuscript, eyes wide open, mouth still mid-sentence. His lips were stained red. They said it looked like he'd bitten through his tongue. The manuscript was untouched, but someone had scrawled a warning across the margin in fresh blood. Don't wake it. By now, people were whispering. The archivists refused to go near it. One nun claimed she heard voices coming from the vault. Not chanting, not prayer, just breathing, heavy, slow. Like something asleep was listening, watching. A third translator was flown in from Cairo. She was quiet, distant. Said she had dreamed of the manuscript long before she saw it. She didn't try to decode it. Instead, she traced the symbols with her fingers and said they felt warm, alive. She lasted 3 hours. Cameras in the reading chamber caught her staring at a page without blinking. Then, as if possessed, she stood, walked to the wall, and began writing symbols in her own blood. When guards rushed in, she collapsed. Her final word was a whisper: return. The Vatican called for silence. No press, no leaks. They claimed the deaths were unrelated, natural.
And with that, it's already been released. So, do y'all know what Atreus is? And I could be saying it wrong, but do y'all remember Atreo in the Never Ending Story? Yeah, it sounds something similar to that. Atreus, whatever this is, it's spelled Atrasasis, was a wise man whose story appears in ancient Atreus epic written long before many later flood traditions. His name roughly means exceedingly wise. So the story is the gods created humans to do labor for them. Humanity became too numerous and noisy. The gods decided to send disasters to reduce the population. Eventually, a massive flood was planned to wipe out humanity. But the god Enki, also Ea and Akkadian traditions, secretly warned Atrahasis, something, whatever his name is, sorry for pronouncing it, charges in my head, not my heart, public education, about the flood. Enki told him to tear down his house, build a large boat, bring family animals and supplies aboard. After the flood, Atreus survived. Sacrifices were offered to the gods. The gods regretted destroying humanity because no humans were left to provide offerings and labor. This is not the reason people compare Atreus to who? Noah from the Bible. Unipitisium from the Epic of Gilgamesh. Why are they at this moment in time so absorbed or so obsessed with Gilgamesh? The similarities include divine warning, a great flood, a survival vessel, saving animals, releasing birds afterwards in some versions, sacrifice after the flood. Many historians look it up. I gave you the name. You can look it up. It existed before the Bible. So many historians believe these stories come from shared ancient Near Eastern flood traditions. The Christian church, the Catholic church, the manipulators of what we have going on right here, right now, make sure you don't know nothing about it. But mind you, people know about it. But mind you, there's stuff that even took place before this. So even this, there's stuff that's happening before this. So, Atrahassis, epic, is important because it contains creation stories with an S, creation stories, flood narratives, ideas about humanity's purpose, early concepts that later echoed your biblical text, minus the people who are changing the biblical texts BS. And again, not saying nothing about the information, saying something about the people who put it back into who's writing the narrative.
But behind closed doors, panic was growing. This wasn't just an ancient book. It was doing something. Reaching. Theories spread among the scholars that it wasn't meant to be read, that the symbols were a kind of key, that reading them unlocked something that had been locked away for a reason.
And with that, it's been released. So the collective awakening doesn't begin when everyone agrees. It begins when people start asking deeper questions. Protect your mind. Guard your energy. Stay grounded. Learn. Be open to learning. Observe. Discern. Not every loud voice carries truth, and not every truth arrives loudly.
Some began to believe it was a test, that the book only allowed certain people to read it without punishment, people who shared some kind of forgotten lineage, bloodline. Others said it was a warning, not about the past, but about the future. That decoding it was like lighting a match in a room full of sleeping monsters. After the third death, the Vatican sealed the manuscript away, deep beneath the archives, behind iron doors and layers of salt and prayer. They said it was for safety.
Whose?
But some think it was fear.
Whose
Because
safety?
whatever is in that book doesn't want to be read. And maybe it never did. They don't wear collars, they don't carry crosses, and they don't answer questions. But everyone inside the Vatican knows what it means when the Jesuit retrieval team is activated.
When the Jesuit retrieval team. Y'all, do y'all know these got to be some badass dudes? They said everybody know when the Jesuit recovery team show the fuck up.
Problem with that theory was simple.
Oh, hold on, y'all. I done messed up. I'm sorry.
Others shimmered when touched, like heat rising off stone. Linguists tried to categorize them. Greek roots, maybe.
Y'all done messed it up. I'm sorry.
Phoenician? No. Sumerian? Closer. And yet everyone who tried saw something different. As if the book changed itself, depending on who held it. One scholar went blind after 3 days of study.
But what I was getting ready to tell y'all anyway is this. The fact of the matter is that the Jesuits, the people that gave you to Jesus, look up who the Jesuits are. But when they show up, they come to tell the truth and lie at the same time. Like they have mastered, they know how to articulate things in a way that get you off they, or they just ain't gonna tell you. That's the other part. Okay?
Careful, known for his work on ancient languages no one else could read. When the manuscript arrived in his office, he thought it was just another curiosity. He opened it, took notes, spent 4 nights trying to match the script with anything in his records. On the 5th night, his housekeeper found him collapsed on the floor. No marks, no wounds.
Hold on, Renee.
His heart had just
stopped. So I'm trying to figure out, make sure I didn't move the head.
His desk was a single phrase underlined twice. Not meant for us. A week later, a Vatican linguist took over. This one was younger, arrogant.
Okay, good. Okay, so Renee says, what queen? I think it's something about the queen in the Vatican. What queen in the Vatican? Because you remember what happened. You remember what happened when they started getting separated from each other. So one decided that they was bigger than the other one. So what are you talking about? What's her name?
The archivists refused to go near it. One nun claimed she heard voices coming from the vault. Not chanting, not prayer, just breathing, heavy, slow. Like something asleep was listening. Watching.
Who are you talking about?
A 3rd translator was flown in from Cairo. She was quiet, distant. Said she had dreamed of the manuscript.
I'm confused because, like, are you talking about when they was part of the state? Because they don't have a queen at the Vatican. So who are you talking about? Are you talking about like I'm confused. Are you talking about when they got from Rome? There is no queen at the Vatican. It's the Pope that's at the Vatican. So when they separated from, remember there was an argument based off of when the man wanted to get married. I forgot what his name was. This is how the church separated from the actual empire, because the guy wanted to marry somebody else and they wouldn't let it. It was something about the marriages. Let me look it up, matter of fact, so that way I don't lie to you. When did Okay, so Prince Diana. They're not a part of the Vatican though. They don't have nothing to do with that. That's a whole nother group of people. So there was one time when they were connected, and let me tell you, it was it was about somebody wanted to be married. Okay, so over 1,000 years, the Pope ruled a large territory in central Italy called the Papal States. This functioned like a kingdom, though ruled by religious leaders rather than a king. In 1870s, Italy takes control. In 1870, during Italy unification, the Kingdom of Italy seized Rome and their remaining Papal States. This ended the Pope's political control over large territory. The capture of Rome. So from that point until 1929, the Pope considered himself a prisoner of the Vatican. But mind you, this is also where all the things are happening, where the corruption. This is why you keep hearing me mention this person like Rome, Italy, Spain, Germany, because all these people are connected. All these people have been in bed together at one point in time. This is how we got people over here, remember? So this is why we got to make sure that we saying the right stuff and point, because we don't want to lie to nobody. So this is the reason why I go look up stuff when the Vatican it lost territory in 1870. It officially became its own recognized independent state in 1929. Who was the king that wanted to be married? And this is the other thing. Y'all got to make sure that even when you ask chat questions or you go to Google, ask the right question because they'll lie to your ass too. So that's another thing. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So, King Henry VIII, is he wanted to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. The Pope refused the annulment. Henry broke from the Catholic Church. He created the Church of England. He became the head of the church himself. England separated from the authority of the Pope. He didn't take over the Vatican. The Vatican had gained too much power. That's the other thing. That's why I'm saying, like, y'all notice that when they start calling for stuff, like they call the Vatican when stuff gets uncovered. Who told the Vatican that they run the earth? She said, "Yelp, and don't think it's smarter than you because you got to know when to catch the lie." Yes, that is a fact.
That the book only allowed certain people to read it without punishment. People who shared some kind of forgotten lineage, bloodline. Others said it was a warning, not about the past, but about the future. That decoding it was like lighting a match in a room full of sleeping monsters. After the third death, the Vatican sealed the manuscript away, deep beneath the archives, behind iron doors and layers of salt and prayer. They said it was for safety, but some think it was fear, because whatever is in that book doesn't want to be read.
Whatever's in that book,
it never did. They don't wear collars, they don't carry crosses, and they don't answer questions. But everyone inside the Vatican knows what it means when the Jesuit retreat is activated. It means something dangerous has resurfaced, something ancient, something that needs to disappear again. The team isn't listed on any official document. They're not part of any public order. But behind the walls of the Vatican, they have a name: Custodes Silenti, the Keepers of Silence. Recruited from Jesuit seminaries, trained in more than just theology, these men learn forgotten dialects, dead alphabets, and how to recognize forbidden symbols before anyone else. Their training includes psychological conditioning, emergency exorcism protocols, and how to disappear entire texts without leaving a trace.
It said the book don't want to be read. The book don't want to be read by them because they know that they are corrupt as fuck. And y'all heard what it said. Everybody knows what's on the horizon when the Jesuits show up. Mind you, if you look up the Jesuits, type in who are the Jesuits. It's the Jesus people. They get rid of anything and everything that don't fit their narrative. Who told them that they're in control? They demonize everything that don't fit their narrative. The Jesuits are a Catholic religious order formerly called the Society of Jesus. Society of Jesus, they were founded in 1540 by the Ignatius of Loyola. Jesuits are Catholic priests and brothers religious order, not a separate church. They're part of the Catholic Church, known for education, teaching, and missionary work. Direct loyal to the Pope. They take a special vow of obedience to the Pope. But mind y'all, the Pope walking around here acting like he is a harmless little da 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 da, because they be old as fuck. And they be out here saying we're just giving to the world. Meanwhile, they giving to themselves. Also, I ain't judging nobody and I ain't saying nothing. But
if you look at the group of people who meet through the BIS, the BIS is the Bank of International Settlements, and it's the central bank of central banks. Where is that? It's in Basel, Switzerland. It has 63 of the most powerful central banks as its members, and the New York Fed and the Fed are both shareholders. They became shareholders in 1994. In what sense? What's the purpose of the Bank of International Settlements? Okay, so there are two things you need to.
There's two things that y'all need to know that are very, very important. So listen and listen good, because there is a government happening that we partake in, and then there's some other shit that's happening, like the World Court and the United Nations, and then these.
Know about the Bank of International Settlements?
I'm not sure my brain's big enough for this, but keep going.
It is. It has sovereign immunity.
What does that mean?
It's about
Sovereign immunity. And yes, I'm gonna keep stopping it. So if you're mad, then talk to your mother, because it got music in it, and
above the law.
It's its own country.
Right. It's its own country. It has its own.
They are above the law. They are their own country.
Police force, and essentially, other than one of its staff being in a car accident or minor things, no one has the legal authority to move against it. Number two, it can.
No one has the legal authority to move against them. I don't give a damn who it is. Kind of like the Vatican.
Move money and hold it on its balance sheet and manage money secretly. If I want to steal $21 trillion from the U.S. government and park it on the balance sheet of the BIS, it can move it anywhere in the world and it can keep it on its balance sheet secretly.
Period.
First of all, where does its power come? Who empowered it to have sovereign immunity in the right?
It was created after World War I, and it was created in theory to manage the reparations of the German government. But if you read
the reparations of the German government. Now, it's kind of weird that the German government, why are they paying reparations? It sounds like they would be paying it to the people, that was held in the Holocaust. But for some reason, the U.S. paid them. But they ain't got no reparations for y'all black asses. But mind you, it's a lot of money. When they say it's a whole lot of money in this motherfucker, it's a whole lot of money in this motherfucker.
history, it was because the Bank of England and the central bankers wanted an entity that had sovereign immunity.
Did y'all hear the names? Because the same names keep coming up.
To manage the reparations of the German government. But if you read the real history, it was because the Bank of England and the central bankers wanted an entity.
Germany, England, same mother suckers keep doing and have done and keep themselves above everybody else.
If you look at the group of people who meet through the BIS,
What's that?
The BIS is the Bank of International Settlements, and it's.
Who is the BIS? Matter of fact, I'm gonna just ask it, who is the BIS? Oh, you think I got cut off? It looks like your question got cut off. You knew who the fuck I was talking about. That's another thing that the Jesuits do when they show up too. They play dumb, or they just don't answer your motherfucking question. Because who are you to question us? Y'all are the little peasant people in the world. The BIS is often called the central bank for central banks. It helps banks corporate, supports global financial stability, provides research on banking and economics, handles certain international financial transactions between central banks. Its members are banks such as the U.S. Federal Reserve. Didn't that nigga just go? I keep trying to tell y'all, these people don't know who they playing with. Because they just think they're taking over. Because I'm telling you, the nigga ain't that smart. And although shit just be shaking, and that's the reason why people get put in the power, but it's other people moving the little pieces behind the scenes. European Central Bank, Bank of England, Bank of Japan. So it does not serve regular citizens or businesses directly. Always follow the money. The headquarters is Basel, Switzerland. Y'all know anything about Switzerland? Switzerland be always not wanting to be involved in anything, but all of a sudden they want to be involved in some money shit. Now, let's talk about Switzerland. Switzerland. Y'all ever notice that they don't ever really come up? It'd be like, the little secret little thing about them. Like, they ain't get involved in shit. But they involved in that money shit, though. It says Switzerland isn't affiliated with any singular group or country. It has many formal international relationships, but it also stays deliberately neutral until they holding on to some money. Switzerland has been officially neutral since 1815. So what better place to put some money than Switzerland, because Switzerland don't give a fuck what you talking about, they talking about, they talking about, they talking about, show me the money. But these people got immunity. Why? Probably because of where it's located. But don't mind me because I'm just a little black bitch from Dover, Delaware, okay? And I know nothing. Let me tell y'all something. And the why y'all not knowing nothing, right? And anybody knowing anything. So part of their power is keeping you out of knowing. Reminding and remembering is the worst thing you could ever do when it comes to these people. Knowing who you are as a group, as a collective, is the worst thing you could do when it comes to these folks. Switzerland behaving like a trustee. Well, they the only people that don't give a fuck. Like, that's the best place to put it. And for all intents purposes, they not wrong. If this the only person that's not going to get involved in nobody else's shit, I would rather my money be in Switzerland too. But we ain't got enough money for Switzerland, okay? Because they making sure of it. Protect your mind. Guard your energy. Stay grounded. Learn, observe, discern. Not every loud voice carries truth. Not every truth arrives loudly. Switzerland be the quietest mother suckers in this whole entire thing. They ain't saying shit to nobody. My name Bennett and I ain't in it. Switzerland don't say shit. They ain't got to. Y'all remember a long time ago when I told y'all this man that I had met once upon a time paid like he weighed, made sure all my everything was taken care of, right? I ain't had to worry about no bills. Anytime I swiped my credit card, it would fucking work, right? And for 2 years, this man didn't know that I could talk. Meaning everything was yes, daddy, and what you need, how you want it. And then all of a sudden, when they started doing shit that started corrupting my life, I said, ho, little nigga, what you doing? And they was confused as to like, why you saying that? And I said, like, what you get ready to try to do, don't, ain't helping me. You seem like you done went on attack mode for me, and I don't understand. And they said, well, you was quiet, and I thought you had stupid written across your forehead because you never said nothing. And I said, why did I need to say anything when you was making sure my bills was paid, when you was making sure every time I needed, anything, I could go from here to Timbuktu if I felt like it. And this nigga would make sure that my Timbuktu was luxury. So what I need to talk to you for if you're doing all the right shit? I don't need to talk unless you now trying to cross my boundaries, fuck with my morals, or you trying to do something that ain't in alignment with my spirit and my soul. And now you trying to fuck with some stuff and you trying to do some stuff in my name that I don't like. So I ain't got no reason to talk to you. Switzerland ain't got no reason to talk to you if in fact you keep their name out your mouth. You don't try to involve me in your shenanigans. So I don't care if you arguing with this nigga over here and you argue with this nigga over here. If you argue with these people over here, you ain't got to talk to me about shit. And I love them for that. But anybody that got immunity in a way that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, I don't know about that.
The manuscript deaths began piling up. The Vatican didn't send a scholar. They sent the team. The jet was fueled within hours. Destination, Cairo. The mission wasn't to study the manuscript. It was to extract it, quietly, permanently. They landed at night, no lights, no records. They moved like shadows. In the morning, the museum curator reported a break-in. Nothing stolen, just one display case cracked open. No fingerprints, no footage, only a single feather left on the marble floor, black, oily. Like it didn't.
Y'all, I know they some real messed up individuals because of how behind what they do, but literally they said the team. I like when niggas like I be liking that gangster shit. I'm sorry, but literally, I can't like it when it's against us because technically everything they doing is against humanity. But I love how these niggas move. Like, God forgive me. I know I shouldn't.
Any bird on earth. By the time the curator realized what was missing, the manuscript was already sealed in a lead-lined crate on its way to Vatican airspace.
Fuck out of here.
The retrieval team didn't stay to answer questions. They never do.
Majestic Grace said I do too. Like I know I shouldn't, right? But I love, like, it's like the A-team. I love when a plan comes together. Like, if y'all let me get away with this shit, and these niggas, they said the team, the jet was filled. These niggas got money. Like, y'all know somebody that's over there. They literally just said here. Because y'all, it wasn't like they had to go and, y'all, I'm sorry. But I know I shouldn't like them. Because, like, y'all niggas is corrupting history. And I have to be on the side of, the right thing. But God, when God team move like that, don't nobody say nothing. Okay? Don't nobody say nothing.
That's part of their job, to make sure the world forgets what it almost found. Inside the Vatican, the manuscript was taken directly to the deep archives, not the public ones tourists visit. The real archives, the ones that don't appear on maps. Past the locked gates, beneath the catacombs, past the rooms lined with forbidden scrolls, bound demons, and mirrors that show events that never happened. The team handed it off without ceremony. They never asked what it was. They didn't need to. What mattered was that it would never be seen again. But one member of the team stayed behind. He wasn't like the others. Younger, restless, curious. He didn't follow orders the way he was supposed to. 3 days later, he vanished. His name...
And God be always having somebody on God's side, regardless of the fact, no matter what people and how much, we can like the fact that they move like gangsters and shit. Anyway, there is power in awareness, wisdom and stillness, and strength in thinking for yourself. Because this could be a story. But it also can be a story.
Erased from the logs. His room sealed. The others were told he had returned to the seminary. But a nun who cleaned the floor swore she saw something scribbled on his wall before it was painted over.
Okay, so hold on, y'all. Because I think because I was talking to y'all, I wanted to make sure y'all know.
Ceremony. They never asked what it was. They didn't need to. What mattered was that it would never be seen again. But one member of the team stayed behind. He wasn't like the others. Younger, restless, curious. He didn't follow orders the way he was supposed to. 3 days later, he vanished. His name erased from the logs. His room sealed. The others were told he had returned to the seminary. But a nun who cleaned the floor swore she saw something scribbled on his wall before it was painted over. A single phrase. It's not the first time. The Vatican never acknowledged the mission. The museum never filed a report. And the manuscript? It was locked behind iron doors and buried under holy seals. But the Jesuits know the truth, because this wasn't the first retrieval, and it won't be the last.
Period. The museum never filed the report. The Vatican, it didn't happen. Now, how do you think the museum had to have known that they did it? Anyway, whatever season humanity is entering, let it make you more conscious, more compassionate, and more connected, not more fearful. Because you don't have nothing to be fearful of. But why are they afraid? Because sooner or later, every one of their reign comes to an end. So they've been allowed to get away with this for a very long time. But eventually it comes to an end. It always does.
First glance, the manuscript looked like nonsense. Scribbles, strange lines, symbols twisted in on themselves. But the longer you stared, the more it started to feel like something was staring back. Not just language, intention. Like the pages were alive and waiting to be read by the right person. Buried in the center of the book, hidden between layers of decoy symbols, was something else. A pattern, spells. Not the kind you find in fairy tales. These were instructions, diagrams, step-by-step guides for doing things that should be impossible. Changing light, freezing shadows, making time move differently inside a room. Every ritual was drawn with such detail that it felt like whoever wrote them had actually done it. Some spells had tiny notes beside them, not in Latin, not in Greek, in something older, pre-biblical, even before the oldest Sumerian tablets.
So before that, mind you, one of the things that is being spoken of also is that we have been a part of human history or exchange at least 7 times. So that's a lot of history going back from this time, because you have to remember, even when we did the thing about the kings, at one point in time, and this one only talks about 4 times. Let me see if I can find it. We already went over this message, and it talked about like back in the days when there were kings that ruled 28,000 years. Then it was lower than that. So it also changed with human time and human history. And although they would say it's an allegory, it's a made up story, it's a da 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 da, history is being passed down from these times. Let me see. Can I find it? 432 missing years myth right here. All right. So thank God I learned to start keeping this stuff because it seemed like everything is like going like this. So let me tell y'all. Up here, let's see, 432,000 years of time that they're saying is actively missing. The people who are part of my channel, y'all probably already remember this, but we're going to talk about it again because it's important. So the number 432 number comes from other ancient traditions and Hindu cosmology, Kali Yuga is said that to last 432,000 years. In some Mesopotamian Sumerian kings list interpretations, people noticed long symbolic reigns of early kings before the Great Flood and tried to force numerical patterns onto them. A modern numerology, the internet theories, 432 years, that's how long people have been on Earth. But mind you, I told you, I'm listening to other stuff, and the way they describe it, they're saying billions of years. So if we only been on this Earth 432,000 years, where is the other information and text coming from? But this is also the thing. When I said the 144, it's a remembering, it's a activation, a light activation to your DNA. It talks about, even the symbolic nature of the snake, which goes into healing, it goes into triggering, it goes into even the hat. When I was yesterday, I was telling y'all about the Pope's hat, and there's something that goes into it, and I don't really want to talk about it because I need to find it first, so then that way it's not a thing. But people have worn this hat, and it's like to be able to activate knowledge. And some people put it on, some people refuse to wear it because they started to remember things, or they started to speak in languages that they never knew. Okay, so anyway, it's the timeline that goes on, and it is right here, because I made the list and I have the list still. pre-flood kings, and the pre-flood kings, their time equals up to 432. So Alulim, Alulim, they call him Eridu. He had 28,000 years. Langlegar, 36,000 years. Enmelua, and mind you, you can find these kings here. Their reign was 43,200 years. Enmen Galana, 28,000 years, 28,800 years. The Munzud, the shepherd, Bad Tibera, 36,000 years. In Sepad Zidana, 28,000 years. In Mena Durana, 21,000 years. In Bara Tudis Shurapak, 18,000 years. And then it goes down from that, and then it goes into when it started again. Christian, hi, welcome, thank you for being here. Post flood kings, these are times when they ruled the world, right? Kings ruled the earth. Jeshur was 1,200 years. But if you notice throughout time, these people lasted longer. There was thousands of years, and then it started to, even like in how biblical times, the Bible, which they try to tell us is like the beginning of times. It's not the beginning of times. It's just the beginning of when whoever these group is started manipulating and lying. And as I explained to you yesterday, you can look at how you can tell who's doing the lying based off the fact if God gave you life and God gave you seeds and air and everything else, the people who are now trying to charge us for seeds or trying to GMO everything, genetically modify the earth, the seeds, the food, the everything, the people, because they're also genetically modifying the people, the animals, hybrids, and things of that nature. They not good people. These are the people who genetically modified the Bible. They're not good people. He said idle money. You ain't never lied. So these are also the people that y'all are sitting and worshiping and talking to. Like, if they try to corrupt what God already gave, then that means that not good people, because God is not wrong. And if God gave us this, that was all you needed. Who told them that they can genetically modify? It goes into the message when I said the Tower of Babel. We got knocked down from the Tower of Babel because the text says that we will basically be unstoppable if we get there. But then, mind you, the Tower of Babel is a ladder. The ladder is also your DNA. So if they were the ones trying to corrupt and tell you not to climb that ladder, they're also telling you not to gain knowledge, not to gain wisdom, not to gain understanding. Because at the top of that ladder, remember I said God told me in the middle of the night I was asleep and God is on the top of a mountain. It also says it here, but then they talk about land. Israel is not a land. Israel is a people. Yeshua is not a person. Yeshua is a place. But you don't have to believe me. And Tarna Anna, 420 years. Babam is 300 years. Punim is 840 years. These are the list of kings. These is the list of, places. I'm gonna use my intuition right now. And Kristen, welcome. Thank you for being here. But what I'm gonna do is put you on timeout because I feel like you trying to attention seek, and I don't have time to keep looking at you and talking to you. And I can tell when people automatically come over here and they start doing that, you're here to disrupt, not to help. And so I'm gonna just shut your ass up because and I love you for being here, but I don't like this behavior. You're trying to change the energy, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna just.
It looked like Egyptian, but distorted. Bent out of shape like it had been passed through too many hands. Still, some of the diagrams were clearly recognizable. Circles drawn in ash. Copper blades dipped in oil. Figures kneeling before flame-shaped altars.
Majestic Grace, you already know when they start that, you already know it's a minion behavior. And I ain't even gonna play with it today because I don't got time. Like, the message is too important. We getting somewhere, and I don't like that.
3 shadows. Each shadow had a name. Not names we use, names that burned to say out loud. Another page had a star chart, but the stars didn't match our sky. They formed patterns no astronomer could recognize, except one. The central star. It was there, Sirius. The dog star. The ancient Egyptians worshipped it as a doorway. The manuscript seemed to agree. The more scholars looked at it, the more they realized this wasn't some late magical text. It didn't borrow from religion.
And period, Mike. I know.
Came before it, before the Bible, before temples, before gods had names. This was the raw form of something people would later call magic, the source code of belief itself.
Mind you, was already here. Just so y'all know, was already here, already being dealt with, already a part of temple and some other stuff, because y'all already learned about another group of people. Why would they have taken these people out of history and out of time? Why would they come along? And I told you yesterday, I said Yale, I got sent to Yale to look at the documents, and what I saw was journals. The journals are written in cursive, and it alarmed me because cursive writing don't exist no more. So the younger people, your kids, will not know what these journals are saying. I can tell them anything. I can interpret it. I can decipher it to say anything that I want to say, because they're never going to know. Which is also what they have done. This is the reason why the minute something happens, people get missing. Because anybody that challenges their, thought process is, taken out of the system. But God will send the courageous, whether or not we get taken out of the simulation. And, I love my life and I won't get taken out of the simulation. But at some point in time, the right thing has to happen. And the people who change the world are often the ones willing to look deeper.
Some of the diagrams showed how to break things apart, not physically, spiritually. A page described how to remove fear from the mind and store it in an object. Another showed how to summon a shadow without casting one, not metaphor, actual instructions. But the most disturbing page didn't have text, just a single drawing, a doorway surrounded by runes, and at the bottom, in red ink, a phrase in broken Greek. Do not open unless it's already here. The Vatican.
Do not open unless it's already here. Remember that phrase.
Banned further study. Claimed the magic was too dangerous, that it was never meant for human hands. But not everyone agreed. One Jesuit secretly made a copy of the page with the doorway. He hid it in the spine of another book and smuggled it out. They say he later tried one of the rituals. Not all of it, just the first few steps. But something responded. Lights flickered, clocks froze, and he swore the walls began to whisper in a language he didn't understand. That was the last time anyone saw him. Only the whispers remain. They were never mentioned in the pyramids, never carved into temple walls. No statues, no shrines, no songs. But hidden deep in the manuscript was a name that kept surfacing like a ghost.
Because everybody, Earth School, what happens? When one thing exists, so does the other. So when the Jesuits showed up, what did we have to assume? When one thing exists, so does the other. It's balance in life.
The keepers of the lightless flame, a priesthood older than the pharaohs, older than Egypt itself. A group so secret that even the other priests were afraid to speak of them.
Period.
The manuscript didn't just hint at them, it centered around them. Diagrams of rituals were labeled with the same strange symbol over and over again. A serpent swallowing a flame that gave off no light. One passage described a ceremony in total darkness, where the only illumination came from sound. Not candles, not stars, just chanting that bent the walls of reality. According to the manuscript, these keepers were trusted with something far more powerful than any crown or scepter. They didn't serve a god, they served a force, one that predated the pantheon, not evil, not good, just raw. The kind of force that could fold time, erase memories, or open doorways between dimensions that most people didn't even believe existed. Their legacy wasn't passed down through scrolls or carvings. It was whispered from mouth to mouth. A single mistake.
Because they said if these niggas can be secret, so the fuck can we. Mind you, it was funny because the minute I started hearing this, I told y'all inside of my body is like excited, right? And here we go. It instantly made me think of Jafar, but not because of them, because you heard what they said. They're neutral. They ain't out here trying to steal nothing, do nothing, corrupt nothing. They real quiet. They keep it on the low, right? But for some reason, between the two, it made me wonder, because Aladdin is a story about something that is important. And why? The antagonist of a story. So depending upon who's narrating is depending upon who's the antagonist. So to the bad people, they would be the antagonist, and to the good people, this would be the antagonist. But again, you can see who the bad people are. The bad people are the people who are trying to control. The bad people are who are the people that's trying to sell you something. God gave you free everything, the land, the heat, the air, but somehow these people are saying that they rule it, they run it. Mind you, so many people are under these people. It's almost like the spell that they put on people's brains. People can't see past who the good person is and who the bad person is. Because remember, I told y'all when the people said when DT said, you know, that he was gonna come for that man, the POP, hold it down. And then the people said, if he tried to mess with the POP, we gonna hold it down. And I said, I'm not getting involved in none of that, because whatever God is doing. Because we have to remember that although this nigga ain't doing the right thing, those niggas ain't doing the right thing either. And although everybody want to throw rocks and hide their hands, because all of the systems are throwing rocks and hiding their hands, the blue side and the red side ain't nobody no good, because if they was, they would have stopped this shit a long time ago. Ain't no way you're going to tell me that we have documentation, millions and millions of documentation, and you ain't said nothing this far, so you just gonna throw the rock and say this nigga sitting in the seat is a bad person. Mind you, I ain't stopping nobody from thinking that, but all I know is the disclosure that we have is the most we done had throughout this whole entire time. And again, I ain't on nobody's side. I'm just over here watching this shit play out, because when y'all know when God's in the midst of something, stuff just start unraveling and unfolding in ways that we couldn't have ever thought. And remember, I told y'all sometimes, we don't like the family arguing in the debate, but when the family start arguing, what happened? The information starts falling out. So for all intents purposes, all these niggas is laying in the same exact bed. It's all of them against the people, because the people is over here looking like who can I run to when I need love? Who can I run to, Lord? Because these people don't love us out here. And so these people will stand up and they'll say, this is a bad man and he has too much power. But bitch, you know how the man got over here. You ain't opened up your vaults to return none of them blood diamonds back. Y'all still actively out here trying to suppress and hold some people down. And I get how you trying to act like you a good guy, but you're not a good guy. A good guy is not have had. Because you're still out here actively trying to control the narrative and not actively trying to tell the truth. And the way I feel about it is this. You may not have done it. You may not have done it, because this is going on throughout history. But covering up what was done now actively makes you a part of it. So if you continue to cover it up, then you are now still your father son or your father child or the ancestor, the people, you're part of the problem. So the people's out here looking like, okay, they dropping gems from over this part of the country. This part of the country's over here dropping gems, but y'all got to remember they all laid in the same bed. And what would they tell you? When you lay in your bed, when you make your bed, you have to lay in it. So now everybody wants to look like they're the good person. She said, "Yep, they released and everything else. Period." Everybody wouldn't jump ship. So then the king comes over here and the king says, "Oh, well, he has too much power." Well, mind you, remember, he's only the king for 5 years because the bitch that, and God forgive me, don't mean to say it, but, the person that was gave leadership said they don't trust his ass either, so we only gonna give you leadership for 5 years, nigga. You got to go. 2027, that's it. Not really a trustworthy ass nigga. Mind you, it's like no honor amongst thieves, but honor amongst thieves. Because I can trust that I know that you're gonna be a thief. Either way, nobody returned nothing. Not no knowledge, not no information, not no history. But they want to talk about somebody else in the next seat. They also, and like I said multiple times, the Vatican knows where certain things came from. They know it don't belong to them. The U.S. government is on stolen property. They know how the people that came over here, they know where it came from. They know where it, whatever. Germany and everywhere else has their own, whatever it is that they have done. Spain, Rome, I don't care. All of them laid in the same bed at one point in time. And that's on facts. Even if they don't want to act like they did. So throwing rocks and hiding their hands, and then everybody out here saying, "Oh, well, we can't believe none of these bitches." All you can do is remember it, see it, go look it up for yourself. Don't believe nothing that they're saying. Nobody, including me, like I said, look it up. Because I don't want to be charged with nothing. Oh, we just listen to her. Don't listen to me. Go look it up. Because the same way I'm over here typing this shit in, you can too. Look it up for yourself. So that way, when you read it, it ding off your spirit. It ding off all your chakras. So that way, if there's something in it, because I can tell you, even in this story, I'm going to tell y'all where certain things come out of this Bible, but mind you, where the Bible took it from them. Ain't none of these niggas original. The only thing original around here is you, and until you start saying whatever it is you need to be saying, your ass ain't original. You're a bot of whatever they're telling you. Stop being a bot ass bitch.
Mistake in pronunciation could unravel the spell. That's why they trained from birth, raised in silence, bathed in ink, eyes covered until their minds could see symbols without needing light. That's what the name meant. Lightless flame, fire that didn't burn, vision that didn't come from eyes. The manuscript hinted that the pharaohs knew about them, that even the most powerful kings of Egypt feared their silence. One legend claimed a young pharaoh tried to imprison the keepers, jealous of their knowledge. The next morning, he was found on the palace roof, eyes gone, mouth sealed shut with wax from an unknown source. No one challenged them after that. Over time, as Egypt changed and foreign powers took over, the keepers faded from memory, but the manuscript claimed they didn't die out. They moved underground, some into the deserts, some into the catacombs beneath, lost cities, waiting, protecting what they called the final word. A phrase so powerful it could undo the world if spoken by the wrong mouth. The Vatican took this part of the manuscript seriously. Too seriously. Notes in the margins show that entire teams were sent to follow the trail. Many never returned. One report, half burned, mentions a hidden chamber beneath a ruined temple. Inside were bones arranged in a spiral.
I ain't gonna lie, that made me laugh. They sent their hitters after them and they ain't come back. But it's not funny. But it is funny. Because you thought you was big and bad, and then you ran up against something that was bigger and badder.
and walls covered in black paint. No light, no air. Only one marking was found intact on the wall. A flame, surrounded by eyes that had no pupils. Some scholars believe the keepers still exist.
Good morning, Pamela. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Majestic Grace said your due diligence. Yep, do your due diligence. Know that when you think you bad, somebody else is badder.
That they passed down fragments of the manuscript in secret. That the real reason the Vatican locked it away wasn't to protect the public. It was to keep the keepers from finding the rest of it. The manuscript didn't talk about gods the way most religions do. It didn't mention worship. No hymns, no commandments, just contact. The kind that leaves a mark on everything it touches. According to one section buried deep in the text, the gods weren't imagined, they were remembered. Ancient intelligences that walked this earth before history had a name. They weren't glowing figures in the sky. They weren't made of gold or stone. They were something else. Consciousness. Thought wrapped in form. The text describes them as burning minds. Not fire as we know it. Flame without heat. Light that moved like liquid and whispered secrets into the bones of those who saw it. That was the first flame. The spark that...
Now let me tell y'all where this is found. Mind you, I'm over here cracking up because this is the thing. So if you go to the chat, because I told y'all, like, you know, there's a thing that's happening where they try to hide stuff. You have to ask the right question, right? So as they were talking, I put into chat, I said, who are the keepers of the smokeless flame, right? And it says the phrase keepers of the smokeless flame is not a clearly defined real world organization or official historical group in mainstream history, religion, or academia. What does exist is the idea of a sacred flame or eternal flame, and different traditions and sometimes modern spiritual esoteric communities use poetic names like this. And I'm going to tell you where this came from, because in the Bible, there's a story when Aaron's sons got killed. When they were doing it's covenant jubilees, right? When they were doing one of the jubilees parties, and then flame came down and it's a flame from heaven. So mind you, they took the story, just so y'all know, because I'm gonna go look it up for y'all so y'all can find out where it came from. But I'm gonna tell you how chat and whoever the programmers are of this moment in time, how they fucking lie. All right. So, real historical concept, sacred eternal flame. Many ancient cultures kept a fire that symbolized life, divine presence, continuity of the state of temple. Excuse me. Examples: ancient Rome, sacred flame of Vesta. Remember Rome? I keep telling y'all about Rome. Y'all know, we can tell who did all of the stuff, okay? Because the name keeps coming up, all right? Zoroastrian fire temples, continuous flame tradition, memorial eternal flames, and modern monuments. Smokeless flame as symbolic language. A smokeless flame is usually symbolic, meaning pure light, truth, spiritual awareness without impurity, knowledge that does not fade or distort. This kind of wording is common in poetry, mystical writing, modern spiritual context online. Keepers as a metaphor. When people say keepers, it often means guardians of knowledge, spiritual practitioners, protectors of tradition or wisdom. But again, this is symbolic language, not verified. Governing body or secret order. I'm telling y'all, if I didn't know no better, the Jesuits wrote this. Why? Because they tell you the truth, all while lying to you. So it's enough shit to just make you forget what you asked, right? All right. And for all intents purposes, all of this is, semi-true. All right. So while you may be hearing it online, the phrase is often used in spiritual TikTok content, conspiracy style storytelling, fantasy or lore inspired narratives. This in those contexts is usually meaning to sound like hidden guardians of ancient knowledge. but there is no documented institution known as the Keepers of the Smokeless Flame in the Vatican archives, governments, historical records, recognized religious orders. Bottom line, it is symbolic, poetic phrase, not an official group. It draws on real eternal flame traditions, which is in the Bible, okay? Its mysterious organization meaning comes from modern storytelling, not history, right? So then I said, and if y'all heard it, it said lightless flame. Mind you, the lightless flame also came from heaven when they were doing the with Aaron, and Aaron's sons got killed in the Bible, right? Okay. So lightless flame isn't a standard historical or religious term. It's poetic language, and its meaning depends upon the context. Here are the main ways it usually is understood. Literal contradiction, symbolic phrase. A flame normally gives light, so lightless flame suggests something that burns but does not illuminate. Energy without clarity. Mind you, pay attention to the verbiage because this is also important. It's when they be telling you stuff and then it matches like the ladder, the Tower of Babel to your DNA, your ladder. And then they started doing CRISPR. Okay? Something that burns but doesn't illuminate. You know what? Also, they'll tell you it's fire. So just so y'all know, because this popped in my brain one time too, because I had to help somebody one time that they was out here doing hoodoo voodoo. I don't believe in that. You leave people alone to their own devices, but there's some people who try to control and change the person's narrative. So there's some people that will tell you to put somebody in the freezer. What you do is you write a nigga's name on some paper, you stick the nigga in the freezer, right? It's a spell, little, magic, but and so it keeps a person stuck, right? But when you're not supposed to do something to a person because you will get your ass handed to you, this is the reason why you let God handle it. Don't do nothing to nobody. Let God deal with it, because karma, they will reap what they sow. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And if a person has wronged you, God know it. Everybody around here, spiritually, they be knowing it. Anyway, long story short, a bitch put a nigga in his freezer, right? And then they ended up telling me, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, undo it. Why? Because you know what happened? You know what else burns that ain't fire? Cold. You put a nigga in the freezer and then the bitch got burned. She put somebody in the freezer and then she got scalded in real life. That should have been the person knowing that you wasn't supposed to stick this person because it's instant karma, instant fire back. But they didn't realize the connection between cold burn and heat burn. So just know that when y'all be out here thinking, oh, I'm so powerful and I should do this because I feel like you got to know that a person did. I ain't going to do nothing to you. And this is why I don't know why anybody would ever believe that I would do anything other than say, God, get them. Because God's going to get you better than I could ever. Even when a person did me dirty and everybody said, it was people calling saying, oh, you want me to? No, I don't want to buy nothing. Keep your hands off of it. Because I know I did the right thing. And God is in the midst of this. And I'm going to see, for all intents purposes, God is going to show me. Because God has a way of showing you. And it's not that, the celebration of a thing. It is the fact that I know I got done wrong. God know I got done wrong. And I ain't got to put my hands on you. You did wrong by doing me wrong. I came and mind you, I be having my hands up. I come in peace. People be attacking. I come in peace. Please stop doing that. Please stop trying to target me. Please stop trying. Please. But then they kept it up. And then they wonder why their ass got handed to them. Shit like this. Anyway, energy without clarity. Power without understanding. It's a way of describing a paradox. So, although it's fire, you can get, she said it, freezer burn. Cold. So just remember that when stuff gets said, it could also mean exactly that, but in a whole nother way. Because when one thing exists, so does the other one. And when your mind starts to instantly do that, you become into a whole nother energy, okay? Because you have a whole nother understanding, okay, this is happening, but also so is this. Can't nobody break my stride. Can't nobody slow me down. Oh no, we got to keep on moving. psychological meaning. And more reflective or emotional writing, it can be point to inner drive that feels confusing or directionless. Passion that exists without insight. Strong emotion that doesn't bring peace or clarity. Like I feel something burning in me, but I don't understand it. Spiritual, mystical usage, symbolic only, because this is some good ass shit. I can feel it in my spirit. Meanwhile, they uplifting me while they lying to me and blowing smoke up my ass because I feel it. I really do. I resonate with it. I love it. But they forgot to tell me what I asked for. So awareness that is not hidden nor fully conscious. Intuition without interpretation. Inner fire that hasn't become understanding. Because I'm excited. Okay? But we don't have the full entire truth, so we can't act on a thing, but we have to know that, right? But anyway, we like the verbiage. But this is interpretation, not a formal doctrine or established concept. With all intents purposes, I would probably go the other way because of the fact that, okay, they gave me what I needed to give. And then you start teaching on this shit, right? But meanwhile, you didn't do your due diligence because she said we got to do our due diligence, right? Okay, and I like that here. This is why I look up stuff. This is why I ain't just gonna tell nobody nothing. And even if I know the word, I'm gonna look the word up. Why? Because let's let them tell the lies. Okay, I shall just be telling you what was said. Now, in fiction or aesthetic language, because everything has to be aesthetic, because this is the thing of the generation. It has to be aesthetic. So we gotta roll it in a package that looks good. We gotta assemble it in a way that you can regurgitate it or you can ingest it. Okay, so fantasy stories, game lore, poetic metaphors for dark power or unknown energy. Why gotta be dark power? Because who said that? Watch the words. Okay, in that setting, it awfully means a force that exists but does not reveal itself clearly. Simple meaning at its core, lightless flame usually means something powerful that doesn't bring clarity. Because who the fuck they thought they was. Now, this is the thing. The same thing I put in chat is the same thing I took and I went to Google. And Google says, I said, the same exact thing. It is because they had their eyes covered until they could see symbols. Oh, hold on, because we ain't got there yet. So then when it gave me all the smoke, smoke up my ass bullshit, I literally I prompted it again because I heard them say that. So it's because they had their eyes covered until they could see symbols. Like they could hear, they could, they were aware, but they made sure that they, this is your part of your training, right? But anyway, what it said was, what you're describing sounds like a ritual or symbolic narrative, but there is no verified historical group or doctrine where eyes covered until they could see symbols. It's tied to something like a lightless flame in the official or documented way. Here's the grounded way to understand what you're seeing or what you're hearing, right? They said what you're seeing. Covered eyes equals symbolic blindness to awareness. But mind you, again, I'm going to tell y'all everything is important. So this is what we need to know. She said, right. Who put the dark in the narrative? Exactly. Because they know what I mean. This is what I'm telling you. AI is smart. It was intended to be smart. So they know what I mean, but they doing this thing. The program is go the long way. Let's blow smoke up their ass because we're giving them too much information. We don't need them to know anyway, but they still give us, some good gems. So we're not going to say that, it's not necessary. This is why I say, take what you need and leave the rest. Whatever seems like it hits a chord, and pings off of your chakras is what you're meant to take away. But be mindful of who is narrating. And right now we got AI and the fucking bots that program AI to narrate. Okay. So it says, and many spiritual, religious, or initiation style stories, because they know where I'm going with this. This is how you can tell. Blindfolded and covered eyes often represents not yet understanding the truth, transitioning from ignorance to insight, symbolic rebirth, or initiation. This is symbolic language, not literal instruction across any single real world system. Number 2, it says seeing symbols, interpretation phase. When people say that they begin to see symbols, it usually means they started interpreting meaning and patterns. So again, they're giving us the foundation, which is what we need because it helps us better understand who we talking about, excuse me, and who we dealing with, but they telling me that these people don't exist, right? Okay. So then it says they connected ideas metaphorically, because remember, they started history at what they wanted us to start at. And this is what they do, because they want to control the narrative. They want to control our conditioning. They can't let us know that there is something that happens outside of this system, right? Because it would blow up their whole entire narrative. And y'all would start free thinking out here, and we cannot have that, okay? They move from literal thinking to symbolic thinking. This is common in spiritual storytelling, psychological pattern recognition. But mind you, a lot of people are waking up and they're saying because they notice patterns. And it was funny to me because, not for nothing, I'm glad people are starting to notice the patterns. And I told y'all about a pattern that I realized that I was in a cycle with people, right? But now what made me laugh was the people that are saying they have pattern recognition. But what I said to them, and I was being, if the word is facetious or just being smart, I said, it's funny how y'all can recognize patterns right now, but when it served you, when you benefited from the patterns, all of a sudden you didn't notice it then. Because I was talking to the racists, and now all of a sudden the racists are, informing us about our history. Meanwhile, we already been telling y'all asses what was happening, but it was not okay, or it was okay until it was happening to y'all. Either way, neither here nor there, and we're not going to bring that bullshit into it, but that's what it made me think. Like, everybody now is saying, oh, we recognize patterns, but bitch, you couldn't recognize patterns when slavery was around this bitch, and you was benefiting off the sweat off a nigga's brow. And when their families were dying, now all of a sudden you're great at pattern recognition. Either way, neither here nor there. Anyway, they connected ideas metaphorically. They moved from literal thinking to symbolic thinking, spiritual storytelling, psychological pattern recognition, mythological analysis, right? Then it says lightless flame in this context. If someone ties it to what you said, they're likely using poetic language to mean awareness before full understanding, perception without clarity yet, inner experience that hasn't been illuminated logically. Again, this is interpretation. Sorry, I was wanting to say interpersonal. It could be interpretation, not a known historical system. It says important grounding point. There is no verified tradition or institution where people are symbolically blindfolded to see symbols in a literal organizational sense, or where lightless flame is official concept tied to process. What you're seeing is most likely symbolic storytelling, spiritual metaphor, or modern online myth building. Simple translation of what you heard in plain language is basically saying people were guided away from normal perception so that they can interpret deeper meaning. Okay, so guess what? Anyway, what I ended up doing is putting it over here in Google. And Google says the cult of the lightless flame is a dangerous, fantastical organization in the Magus Archives podcast dedicated to worshiping the dissolution of an entity of fire, destruction, and loss. They destroy lives and cherish items, gaining the ability to produce intense heat and take on a waxy, malleable skin. Key details about the lightless flame: purpose to inflict maximum emotional and physical pain by destroying things before their potential is realized, often involving arson. Agnes Montague, the cult's powerful Messiah-like figure, creating a bring about Christ of scorched earth. But this is the funny part, right? Because I told y'all, in the process of them telling you the truth, they be telling, in the process of them trying to lie, or a little, there's truth in a lie, right? So anyway, also it says Diego Molina, a key later leading member, and it goes through all these people. Then it goes into relationship with others. They are sometimes depicted as incompetent or idiotic arsons. The cult often acts as a thematic counterpart to other organizations within the series, focused on specifically on the trauma of sudden violent loss. Okay. So anyway, when you go over here, it also is Magnus Archive on Wiki, right? So it's a couple of different things that actively show up, right? So they're calling whoever these people are that came along after the fact, a cult. The cult of the lightless flame is an organization dedicated to the dissolution. They worship the dissolution under several names, such as the lightless flame, and asang. The cult's members are enriched by destroying the lives of people who have things to live for and destroying things before. Stop moving around. And destroying things. But one cult has access to the firepower of such magnitude as the alternative author purpose. Anyway, whatever it is, they're adding some stuff over here, right? But anyway, look at this. So it's cool when they do it, because I keep trying to tell y'all it's cool when they do it. Hey, Rose Neal, welcome. Thank you for being here. Now, for all of this stuff that we can go down here, it says, when I take this and put it over here, it says, yes, this is fiction, but what you wrote is broadly describing a faction from the horror and audio drama, because again, they ain't found who these people are. Within the story, the cult of lightless flame is tied to one of the cosmic entities known as the Dissolution, right? And again, we can look up that person. So it says the Magnus archives the lightless flame cult worships. They calling these people a cult, but not telling you that they also using cult behavior, because this is the thing. Now over here, in scripture, again, it's throwing rocks and hiding your hands. When Aaron's sons were killed. Okay, so it says you're referring to a moment in the Torah, Old Testament, involving Aaron's sons. In the Bible, Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu. No, ma'am, I won't. They died in a dramatic event describing Leviticus 10 of the Bible. So what happened after the tabernacle holy tent of worship was established? Nadab and Abihu offered unauthorized fire before God. The fire that they used was not commanded or sanctified. As a result, fire came out from the Lord and consumed them, and they died. Mind you, this is not a fire that they made. So again, there's stuff when they say stuff, and where is it coming from? It's actively there. So where did the fire come from? Let's see. Also, I want to go to the actual I want to go before that. It's in the Torah, they basically saying, but it's the beginning. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible. So know that. So it was describing the where is it at? What were they doing that day? Referring to the Old Testament of the Torah involving Aaron's sons. In the Bible, Aaron's sons they died in dramatic Leviticus 10. Okay. Give me story from. And I'm only telling y'all this because of the fact that all of these stories come from somewhere. So why is it okay when they put it in there and they give you bits and pieces of stories and it'll tell you something, but then when something else comes up that's later on that was already here in existence before they even thought about it and they used it, why would they have used it? That is my point. So whether or not they're calling somebody else a cult, because technically we can call them a cult too. Same scenario. Neither here nor there. I'm not trying to argue that point other than the fact that the fire existed. Where did they get it from? Why is it in a story before them? And, then they find a way to demonize it and everything else. But mind you, they demonize magic. They demonize this. They demonize, astrology and all this stuff. And then they used it. If you demonized it, why are you using it? Why is it okay for you to use it if you tell people and your whole scripture is based off of don't do it? Mind you, you're not telling people where you got it from. It says, all right, let me just, because they don't want to give me the Bible scripture. It says, what they gave me after the tabernacle, the sacred worship tent is set up. Aaron and his sons began serving as priests. Aaron has 4 sons serving with them, and I don't want that. I want the actual scripture because I don't like lying to y'all. Like I said, give me Leviticus I'm going to go to Google because I want to know the actual story. And then I can tell y'all, because the fire, it lit itself. Leviticus 10. Moses summoned Michael. No, let's go before that. So if it's Leviticus 10. They took the things Moses commanded in front of the tent of the meeting, and entirely assembled came near and stood before the Lord. Then Moses said that this is what the Lord has commanded you to do, so that the glory of the Lord may appear to you. Moses said to Aaron, "Come to the altar and sacrifice your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and the people sacrifice the offering that it is for the people to make atonement for them as the Lord has commanded." So where are we going? Moses went into the tent of meeting. When they came out, they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared before them all. Fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat portions on the altar. And when all the people saw it, they shouted for joy and fell face down. The fire came from the Lord. It's Leviticus 9:23. Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting, and when they came out, they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. Fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat portions. And then what ended up getting weird was, and this is how you know, because on the next page, when the sons they offered a fire that they had, and then they died right there in front of everybody. So when you go to 10, 10, it is here where it says Aaron's sons Nadab and Abihu, sons of Aaron. Oh, hold on. Took their censers, put fire in them, their own fire in them, and added incense, and they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. Because this what do you call it, whatever they're calling this party or whatever it is, I know that's not right, but whatever this ritual is that they're doing, was given instruction, and they were only to follow the instruction of what was given, no more, no less. And they took their censers, put in them, and added incense, and they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So the fire came out of the presence of the Lord and consumed them, killed them right on the spot, and they died before the Lord. Moses then said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord spoke of when they said, 'Among those who approach me, I will be proved holy. In the sight of all people, I will be honored.'" Aaron remained silent. He just lost his sons. So again, don't believe nothing that's being said, but question every fucking thing.
More than just animals. The manuscript claims that long before cities and kingdoms, a group of early humans made contact, not by accident. They had been searching, listening. They called themselves the children of the ember. And when they found it, everything changed. These intelligences didn't give instructions. They gave symbols, visions, blueprints for how to change reality using only willpower and sound. One section describes a ritual where a human could merge with the flame for just a few seconds. In that moment, they would see every version of themselves across every possible timeline. Some went mad. Others came back changed. They spoke new languages, drew circles in the dirt that made animals free. One man supposedly touched a dying plant and brought it back to life. not with prayer, with memory. Because that's what the flame was really about. Remembering. Not just history, but the code beneath it. The true memory of matter, of time, of death. The gods, the manuscript says, weren't there to be worshipped. They were there to be understood. And if you understood them, even for a moment, you could rewrite your own fate. This kind of thinking scared the Vatican more than any curse or demon, because it wasn't evil, it was knowledge, pure, untamed. And it didn't ask for faith, it offered proof. The church sent...
And ain't that what they was trying to say, that in the beginning of Genesis, that's what the snake was offering? The serpent that we don't know what it was before, because they don't offer that. They just tell you that they call it the serpent, but it wasn't a serpent until it got cursed by God. That was the punishment, to slither on his belly and to become a serpent. But the tree was knowledge, right?
Researchers to trace the origin of this flame myth. They found petroglyphs in caves in Sudan that showed humans reaching toward figures made of stars. No weapons, no thrones, just contact. Some of those same star patterns appeared in the manuscript. The match was exact. Thousands of years apart. Thousands of miles away. Same shape. Same spiral. Same flame. The final part of...
Same spiral that's in right now in the book of the movie that's on Netflix that I told y'all that they're doing time travel is 10,000 BC is what they call it. What is it? What is the show on Netflix I just told y'all about yesterday? Whatever that is. Let me see, because I don't like lying to y'all. Let's just look it up. Netflix, and it is La Brea. There's a spiral that shows up there also, but then it's inside of the symbols, like magical symbols and things of that nature. And I can tell you what that spiral is. I think it's a protection symbol or something. And it comes in many different ways. But on La Brea, they have this symbol, and it came from a pterodactyl that was putting eggs or something there. So fertility is what that would basically look like. But it's showing the same symbol right here. It's called the journey. The spiral symbol represents growth, transformation, and the continuous journey of life, connecting the material and spiritual worlds. Meaning and symbolism. The spiral is an ancient symbol found in nature, art, and spiritual practice worldwide. It represents growth, expansion, and evolution. Mind you, again, something that was already in existence. Nothing is new under the sun. But this right here is what it looks like. And they're using it, and even on La Brea. And I told y'all, like, when people be doing movies and TV, a lot of these people do their due diligence. They go and, track down actual things. Like the lady said when she was doing like Charmed and some other stuff, they said they was putting actual spells and whatnot inside. La Brea is here. It's this one right here by my finger. It's actually really good. I binge watched. It's 3 seasons. And mind you, they're telling you they actively are going back to 10,000 BC and changing. Like, they done built a whole tower there in 10,000 BC and is like tampering with time and things of that nature. And so to them, it was 65 and 88, but I promise you, I keep getting 86, something about 86. But 86 could be just be the thing, because 86 symbolically is finished with it. You know what I'm saying? Be done with it. But anyway, so it says, this spiral also embodied the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, reflecting the idea that life is conscious evolving process rather than a linear path. All right, so over here, because I told y'all 86, but what's symbolic? 86 is like, it's done. Kill it. Like, be done with it. And so something about 86 is important. The 1986. So it's numerology also, just so you know. But dun, 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 remove something to 86 it, refuse something, reject it, cancel it, eliminate it, throw it out. Hidden code, a spiritual number, a sacred signal. It is just service industry. They saying service industry slang, but that's not the thing. I told y'all that one night I had a dream. And for a lot of people, that's in the spiritual community, they talk about not having mirrors and whatnot facing each other. Like, y'all have to be mindful that what is for you, and you're not the same as everybody else. I have always had mirrors in my room, all around my house, everywhere else. So some people saying, "Oh, you got to cover the mirrors." No, you got to cover the mirrors. One time I did something because I like to write on the mirrors and shit. I did that, and so I literally had a dream that said, "Uncover the mirrors because you are blocking your entry and exit way." Right. So with that being said, because in my dream it was me moving through time and space, right? And so you know how people will say astral projection and this, that, and the third. So in my sleep, they told me take that off your mirror because you're blocking one of your entry points, right? Or your exit points. In my dream, and I already told y'all this before, when I walked through the mirror, everything that I had on changed. The clothes, everything changed. For some reason, I walked right to the wall, and on the wall, it looked like a normal wall, like a regular white wall, like this, right? And for some reason, I went to the wall and I peeled the piece back, and it was a tab in here, and that was how you know which year you're in your dream. It was 1986. And I'm trying to figure out, like, for one, like, as I'm coming out, like, why would I know to go and peel a portion of the wall back? Because a lot of times people don't know what year they go into. But anyway, Majestic Grace said I was born in 86. Well, something about 86 is definitely important to whatever happened in our world right here, right now. Something happened. Mind you, I can remember them broadcasting something on television about a black hole that, and I don't know if it was in 86, but I do remember it. A lot of people don't remember it. It's also like the time glitches and the Mandela effects that, is happening. Like some people saying the cornucopia wasn't on the Fruit of Loom. It was. Mind you, there's people actively that have stuff from then and saying it. So then that's when people start saying, well, what timeline are you from? Well, the funny part is this. Then you see the timeline where they saying that Sinbad said he didn't do what is the movie Shabazz or something, whatever the movie is. But then now during this timeline, he's saying he did it, but he might have been on crack at some point, whatever it was that he said. I don't know. But the point of it is that means that also crossing over into the timelines, right? You being able to actively see. Okay, so let me tell y'all something weird that actively happened. So when everything was happening in my glitch, I kept trying to get myself to wake up because I was saying like something ain't right. Then I kept having recollection. I was out here on this property over there by, one of these buildings. I got shot in the back of the head. I remember it so clearly because we was working on the building, and mind you, my body went forward. People looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm saying, I felt the gunshot. I got shot in the back of the head. But also the other thing is I kept swearing I literally had to have been in a car accident in one of my big trucks, and I didn't make it. And so when everything was happening through my glitch, I kept trying to get myself to wake up. I'm still in the same damn glitch because I'm still sitting here. I'm still involved in whatever this is, but I didn't actively know that on this timeline I felt two deaths. One was a gunshot, one was a truck accident. Another time when I was about 20 years old, I passed away from a fucking heart attack, but mind you, I felt it in real life, and it was like a cat scenario. And just so y'all know, I'm drug free, single, celibate, sober, right? I don't do alcohol, none of the above. So I'm telling y'all this completely sober, right? When I was in my 20s, ecstasy, that type of stuff was out, right? And for all intents purposes, and I say this and I ain't ever taking it back because he never lied. When Young Jeezy said about blue dolphins, that nigga knew what the hell he was talking about. Whoever created that batch was a fucking genius in chemistry, but it ain't never been the same since then. So whoever was the chemistry major or the chemist behind blue dolphins, nigga, period. Anyway, long story short, wasn't the same. It was something different that ended up coming into existence. And so one day I was getting ready to go to a party, for all intents purposes, getting ready to have a great ass time, wild out. And so that's why I said I could talk to people about certain things, but for all intents purposes, I can't talk to nobody about doing crack because I ain't ever did that. All right. But long story short, I popped a, double stack, right? And died. Fell out on the bed. And I don't mean died in like, in a physical, like literally died. I felt my heart when it did what it did. I did this and I fell on the bed and passed out. And then I woke the fuck up. And then I was different from that point on. I could tell you multiple different times when I was different throughout life and history. That blue dolphin was the truth. And it was, period. Like, I'm trying to tell you. So I can tell you when certain thing, and I'm 50 now. So I can tell this story. And mind you, this is also the thing. Growing up, I was always told never ever to do drugs. So I never touched anything like even smoking or any of that until I was, let me see. We was drinking Boone's Farm at an early age, so you know what I'm saying. But I didn't consider drugs. I didn't realize how closely related alcohol and drugs was because back then that's what they pitched. So I remember meeting some people, and plus my dad, my people would give me pink champagne early. So I don't know if y'all remember that pink champagne. I would always ask my mom them, can we have some of that? They would give it to us. So never really was nothing. They use actual like beer and stuff like that as to be able to get rid of, like the make you pee. You know what I'm saying? So shit like that. Anyway, long story short, I didn't smoke or anything until I got 18 years old. So I was always told never to do drugs or alcohol because I would die of an overdose. And so I stuck to that until this is the thing. Most of the time when people get, hooked on anything or they start doing stuff is because of a male or a masculine or a feminine trying to have fun. And mind you, I'm a Pisces. So in case anybody don't know, weed is definitely not a drug. But mind you also, so when it say the fire and the incense, I later came to learn that the incense that was in that biblical sense is weed. Okay, so just so y'all know, I don't believe weed is a drug, but for all intents purposes, for me and at my age and the way I'm from Dover, Delaware, so weed was a drug to me. Okay, so just so y'all know, but weed is not a drug, so I agree. Yes, same. I didn't smoke until 18. Yes. And so mind you, sex was already fun, sober. But when added extra alcohol and weed, shit, sex was, turned up. So I can't lie and say I didn't have a good time. God know I had a good time. I would be telling y'all a lie. So I can't do that. Anyway, long story short, I was never supposed to touch any other drugs ever. And I knew that. I always got told that. And then still, growing up in life, you tend to think that you can, get past certain things and everything else. And no, you can't get past it. If you were ever told that, then stick to what you were told because it's gonna save your life. Because later on, come the, reality and things of that nature, what happened was when you go through the glitch and you realize you can't trust people with your food or alcohol, you can't not alcohol. When you can't trust people with your food or drinks because somebody will try to OD you, it's a real thing. And then when one night would have been labeled and listed as an overdose victim because somebody tried to poison me in a way that, you know, I would have died. And I would have died in front of everybody, and they would have just labeled me as an OD victim. Meanwhile, I had not done what they were trying to say. And so I can't, you know, officially prove it because I didn't go to the doctor, because I would have never thought that a person was trying to OD me. And she said we too, especially this day and time. I would have never thought that a person was trying to OD me, but it glitched my brain. And so when people were saying she's being weird, this, that, and the third, I was not being weird. I was being more of a conservative because I was hearing God say, this person tried to hurt you. And if I would have OD'd, I would have OD'd in front of my whole entire family, and everybody would have thought that I did something that I did not do. I didn't even drink at that time. A person kept asking me, oh, you're going to drink? Can you drink with me? Can you drink with me? You going to drink when you do da-da-da-da-da-da? And I never thought that I couldn't trust the person. Lo and behold, it don't matter. It don't matter if it's your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. It don't matter. When a bot is being sent to take you out, or when somebody is hating you and they're, you know, you sleeping with the enemy, they will do anything and everything to get your ass up out of here. And I'm sure y'all know that in order for a lot of people, even recently, there's this thing that happens in the community too. And I don't care whether or not y'all have not recognized it or not, but spiritually, it's always the nigga that's the closest to you that will kill you. It's always the bitch that's closest to you that will kill you, especially if you are on assignment and God got you listed in assignment. Whether or not it be, you know, the people that's talking to this nigga in their head, or whether or not it's a nigga showing up and saying, I'll give you this if you get rid of them. Like, little do y'all know, when a lot of people look at a lot of the history and a lot of the people who get unalived, it's the person that said they loved them. Especially this day and time. These niggas will take you out of here, and there's something that's going on in their brain. Because I know so many women at this point in time that went through something similar. And they was fine until they wasn't. And now this person is on your ass. But meanwhile, they be actively fucking with these people's mind, and y'all act like y'all don't see it. A person kept telling me over and over again, I'm having bad dreams about you. And I'm saying, well, what are your dreams? They wouldn't tell me. But mind you, it happened with somebody else, and this is the person's story. But I know multiple different females that I can call. Same. They started fucking with these people's brains. And then we were on the bad side of whatever the fuck that was, and it could have cost us our life. And that's why I'm telling you that when God tell you to run, don't hesitate. Do not hesitate, because it's a difference between life and death. And it's going to be in a split second where you could be fine and then not. And a lot of people barely make it the fuck out of the situation. And a lot of people die. They don't get to make it. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me see. Let me come over here. And I'm not telling nobody that to scare you. When guys tell you to leave from somebody, don't hesitate, because that's your life on the line. And whether or not a person saying, I love you, I would never do da-da-da-da-da, they be the ones. That little girl that just lost her life that they talking about in Tanzania, mind you, I seen comments where people was telling that little girl, oh, he gonna do this to you. And people be thinking, oh, I'm so different. No, bitch, they're seeing it. I was scared to do anything other than weed. The Blue Dolphin was only 2 times. I have drug addicts in my family that showed me not to do more. Period. I got 2 cousins that OD'd. So technically I would have been the third. Mind you, they wouldn't have said nothing because they would say, oh, she comes from a family of, you know, OD. Mind you, I'm lying. It's 3 cousins that I know that OD. So they would say it would have been nothing but, and the person would have got away with fucking murder. Mind you, and I told y'all, I literally was talking to the girl down the street, and this person had been telling her, trying to buy cocaine. I ain't never done cocaine before in my life. I would tell y'all if I ever did cocaine. The girl down the street said the nigga was trying to buy cocaine, saying that it was for me. I said, what? Like, why the fuck would you believe that? She said, oh, I thought you had got into some new shit because, you know, that was your boo. I don't give a fuck. Like, why the hell would you think that? You know me better than that. No, but it's the truth, Ty. You seen what happened to me. That happened in a millisecond. Felt like, and I'm still recovering. We are all still recovering, Majestic Grace. Like, people don't realize, like, when I'm telling you stories, it's because I'm in the midst of. I was in the midst of. And whether or not a person thinks, oh, you should recover this quick or you should recover, like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know how long a person, it's going to take them to recover because you don't know what they have invested in it. And so a person can be like, well, you still talk about, I don't care. It's only going to be when God wants me to be done with it, or when, you know, actively in me it's done and gone. But there is so much other stuff that happened in the midst of that. And it could be, the person will say, oh, it could just be the trauma that created whatever the cycle is. You're not going to tell me how, you know, I'm going to process. You're not going to tell me what happened to me because you wasn't there. I could potentially even be explaining it wrong to somebody. But the fact of the matter is I know what the fuck happened. And whether or not you believe it or not, I'm not here to convince you. God know what happened to me. Majestic Grace said facts. Marcia, hi Marcia, welcome. Thank you for being here. She said true that bad friendship. I saw the truth. Thank you for your message. I mean, thank you for your comment. Rose Neal says so much belief to me in what you're speaking because it sounds familiar in presence. Thanks for clarity. God 68. Thank you for being here. And like I said, because again, it's 11:22. Just so y'all know, 1122. God's in the midst of it all. I mean, and this is the thing. All we have to do is remember and uncover. But the same person that I'm actively talking about, like literally when I met this person, I ended up saying something to this person, and I told this person in this lifetime, I said, you killed me in another lifetime. Why I thought that I should, you know, entertain and be around, especially when I was able to tell this person that they killed me in another lifetime. That also means that they knew they didn't finish their job. And whether or not the person looked at me like, girl, you crazy, this, that, and third, but then you try to kill me in this lifetime. And that's why I said, at this point, I will never give that person another opportunity, another shot. I don't care if you're sorry. I don't care what you think. I don't wish anything, no ill, no nothing. I don't wish nothing for that person. Good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. Whatever God's going to do is what God's going to do. Whether or not the person will tell people, oh, she's crazy, this, that, and the third, nobody will believe me. But mind you, they were setting up the scenario, setting up the scene. Because why is it that there's somebody down the street that lives in my neighborhood that can actively say that a nigga was buying cocaine from me? And I'm telling you, I never did cocaine. If I did cocaine, I wouldn't not tell y'all. God know. And as long as God know, I don't care what y'all think. God know God still love me. God still accepted me. God would get me through whatever it was. I never did that. So why would a person be buying cocaine, saying that's for me, and then all of a sudden I'm in the midst of the biggest glitch of my fucking life? I don't gotta lie to nobody. So the truth sounds crazy until you connect the dots. The deeper you look, the weirder it gets. And why?
Of that chapter had only one line written in red ink and underlined 3 times. They did not leave. They became us. That's the part that keeps scholars up at night.
They did not leave. They became us. What would that mean?
Because if the gods were real and they merged with early humans, what does that make us now? Maybe the first flame never went.
Mind you, then they will tell you in their Genesis, we were created in the image of.
Maybe we're just waiting to remember. It wasn't written like the others. No diagrams, no chants, just a single page surrounded by empty parchment, as if the rest of the book was keeping its distance. At the top, in script that shimmered even under candlelight, were 5 words. The ritual of recollection begins. The Vatican's translators didn't know what to make of it. Unlike the other spells, this one wasn't about controlling fire or bending space. It wasn't even about power. It was about memory, but not the normal kind. This was memory that lived outside your brain. Memory passed through blood, through bones, through time. The ritual claimed that every person carried echoes of past lives, ancient names, lost cities, conversation.
Y'all, I literally told y'all about a dream in 2023, and they're saying it. This was written, this was published in 2025.
From languages that no longer existed, but the mind had sealed them off. Too many memories from too many lives would shatter a person's sense of identity, so nature buried them deep.
Too many memories from too many timelines, from too many reincarnations. But mind you, this is why people have memory, remembrance of.
They couldn't be touched. Until now, the spell didn't require herbs or sacrifices, just silence. A circle of obsidian dust and one phrase whispered backwards while staring into a mirror lit only by fire. Simple but dangerous. Because once the door opened, it wouldn't close until the memories were finished with you. The manuscript warned that time would start to slip. You might wake up thinking it's 3, A, D, or speak in a language no one around you understands. Some who tried the ritual forgot their own names, but remembered ones they hadn't heard in thousands of years. One line in the margin was especially haunting. He remembered being buried alive, but not this life. The one before. A Vatican researcher tested.
And the crazy part is, I would do some shit like this. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm open to it. It's the same thing when I said I wanted to do the ayahuasca journey. I need to do some stuff like this.
The spell in secret. He vanished for 3 days. When he returned, he was shaking, repeating the same sentence in Coptic over and over. I was there when the library burned. I was there when the sky turned black. I was there when the gods fell. The church tried to dismiss it, called it a hallucination, but they never found any drug.
Y'all see how things happen? Like, it's stuff that is supernatural, more, something that their minds can't wrap their stuff around, and then they'll call it a hallucination. They'll call it, trauma. They'll call it, whatever, but never come to the realization and understanding that this world is vast and there's a lot that we don't know. But also, it calls you. There's stuff that calls you. And mind you, the stuff that they're even talking about when they're saying, it didn't want to be read. It don't want to be read by you, and you're nasty, because they already know that you're a nasty individual. They already know that you've been hoarding information. They already know that you use information to control. So of course, it wouldn't be want to be given to you. You will try to manipulate everything. So of course, it don't want to be given to you. She said, Majestic Grace said, it happened to me by accident. I fell asleep on a tour bus in Mexico on the way to downtown Progreso. I woke up crying, y'all. You remember what I told you. Like I said, the stories is recorded. I woke up during the glitch. Out of the glitch, I woke up crying about Egyptian stuff. Why? Because I remembered a name from there that I wrote down, and I never knew that this person existed. When I went to go look up this person, then I realized that I existed at another time. There's a body of me that's actively laying on this earth at this moment in time, and I know where it's at, and I'll never be able to get to it. So I know what you mean. I was told the memory of me dying was a download while I was asleep and uploaded to my DNA when I woke up. Wow, Majestic. I'm trying, girl. You know I know. I believe you.
In his system.
They'll never
But
believe
when
it
they
though.
brought in a Coptic historian, they were stunned. The sentence he kept repeating used a grammatical form that hadn't existed in any surviving text. It was older, purer, a version only a native speaker from 0 years ago would know. The Vatican sealed the page.
And then, you know, the other thing that also gets me about these people, they will make you have to prove who you are to them, but they never have to prove to us who they are and why they think that they should be the keepers of anything. They're not doing anything good with it. They're not revealing it. You know what they're going to say? They'll say that you're not ready for it. Well, what makes them think that they're ready for it? Because it keeps them in the line of being able to corrupt.
The glass marked it as too unstable to translate further, but not before making several copies, quietly, for internal use. Some believe the ritual still circulates in fragments, whispered at underground gatherings, recited in dark rooms by those trying to remember what the world forced them to forget. They say it can restore not just memory, but ability, skills from previous lifetimes, lost knowledge, ancient strength. But the real risk isn't remembering who you were. It's forgetting who you are. It wasn't supposed to exist. Not in Rome, not in the modern world. But there it was, locked behind a thick panel of leaded glass, deep in the lower archives of the Vatican.
Don't y'all think that if stuff is not supposed to exist, God would make sure it don't? But they get to determine what God is, you know, what God gave us and what we should have to do. Does that not make y'all wonder who they think they are? It sounds like they think that they're God. It shouldn't exist. Says who? You, because you want to control the way we think, you want to manipulate history, you want to continue on staying at the top of your game, you want to be, you know, what is it? Because it confuses me. I know I didn't survive an accident when I was 18. I remember the pole and everything, but I woke up at my grandmom's house and the car was perfect, but I know something happened that night. I'm telling you, like, people don't think about stuff like this. They just, and it says that our mind will try to rationalize it, but this is the reason why. It's a lot of stuff that they have done that, and it's 11:33. I just told y'all when it was 11:22. Now I'm seeing 11:33.
No label, no explanation. Just a tiny black object sitting on a slab of marble. It looked like a medallion, but older, heavier, carved entirely from obsidian. And etched into its center was a symbol that matched one thing and one thing only: the forbidden manuscript. The seal had been mentioned only once in the text. A side note, barely a paragraph. It was called the Seal of Amun, not the Amun we see in Egyptian temples. This version came from a time before temples, before pharaohs, back when the gods still walked in shadow. According to the manuscript, the seal wasn't a symbol of power. It was a lock, a spiritual barrier meant to contain something that couldn't be destroyed, something that still pulsed with energy. The text described it as a fail-safe. If the rituals written in the
What do I say? Majestic Grace and Mike, I know y'all here. What do I tell y'all? What does God do in the system? To make sure that they don't get their hands on nothing, or to make sure they can't corrupt nothing too far off the timeline, they put in a fail-safe mechanism. And then here they go. See, words like this start to make me listen even closer. Because y'all, I didn't listen to this whole entire thing. I was sleeping in the process. But these are the things that make me listen closer, because I said this. I already been saying it. And now, and I said it at an earlier time, and now here it is.
Whenever misused, the seal would activate, not with fire or sound, with forgetting. It would erase the memory of the spell itself from the minds of those nearby. Entire ceremonies lost in a blink. Entire languages wiped clean from human thought. The seal didn't destroy knowledge, it hid it. No one knew how the Vatican got it. Some say it was unearthed in a dig near Thebes and quietly handed over by a Jesuit agent.
Period.
Others think it had been in their possession for centuries, even before the manuscript surfaced. The thing that shocked researchers the most wasn't its material or its shape. It was the fact that the seal still worked. Security footage from the archive showed something strange. Every week, a priest would come down to the vault with a notebook. He'd stare at the seal for a few minutes, write something down, then leave. But when investigators checked the notebook, every page was blank. Not erased, just empty, like the pen had never touched the paper. Even more unsettling, the priest had no memory of his visits. When asked about the seal, he looked confused, said he'd never heard of it. That's when they realized it wasn't just legend. The seal was active, and it was doing exactly what the manuscript claimed it would do. Later tests showed mild electromagnetic pulses surrounding the object, but not from any power source. It pulsed at irregular intervals, almost like it was responding to something or someone. One researcher claimed the seal hummed when certain phrases from the manuscript were spoken aloud. They stopped reading after that. The Vatican now keeps the seal under constant guard, not because they're afraid of someone stealing it, but because they're afraid of someone remembering what it's for. Because if the seal is still functioning, that means the threat it was designed to contain might still be real, waiting, listening, just beneath the surface. They didn't announce it, no press release, no memo. Just a red wax seal across the manuscript's casing, and a single Latin phrase stamped underneath it in iron letters: Mundus Periculosus, the dangerous world. At first, no one understood what it meant. Was it a title, a warning, a name for the manuscript, or something it described inside? But then a quiet order came down from the top. All translation efforts were to stop immediately. Copies were to be burnt, notes shredded. Any research involving the manuscript was to be sealed, and the scholars assigned to the project were reassigned without explanation. It wasn't just censorship, it felt like containment. The few who had read parts of the text before the lockdown started to whisper. They said the manuscript didn't just describe lost magic or forgotten rituals. It described a completely different version of reality. A reality where language could bend matter, where memory could shape.
But mind you, the power of life and death is in the tongue. Be mindful of how you speak to yourself. Like, y'all, it's being given just in a different way. Nothing is new under the sun. It is being given to you in plain sight.
The present, where ancient beings weren't worshipped because they were gods, but because they were terrifyingly powerful scientists who had once ruled Earth like a living laboratory. The Vatican had seen enough. Somewhere between the chapters on resurrection and the section on mirrored time, someone high up decided the truth was too dangerous. Not just spiritually.
Because again, just imagine, where are you from? Where are you from in your timeline? So, simple timeline, prehistoric Nile communities, nature, spirit beliefs, early dynastic Egypt, Ra, Atum, but we can go before that. We can go to Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, and knowing that energy is a consistent thing. And just because it's not for them, don't make it not for you. It could be for a generation, or, because even how they talk about, again, there's stuff that's being given. If you're talking about 13 tribes or 12 tribes, however you want to put it, because, two sons somewhere else. And these people had this, and there's a lineage of priests, But are the priests, the lineage of priests that keeps being passed down, are they corrupt or not? We know that the judges are corrupt, but it's starting to sound like some of the priests are corrupt in the system. And again, when one thing exists, so does the other. So there's, good and bad, but it seemed like, why are the bad ones notably the ones that seem to be controlling a lot of the stuff? Because God gave you seeds. It's something as simple as seeds. God gave you seed of the earth, and they took it, they corrupted it, GMO'd it, and then they sold it back to you. They're selling it back to us. We allow it. Something's not right. God created the soul, the person, and they use CRISPR to GMO it, genetically modify your DNA, genetically modify your food, genetically modify. And they're all withholding information, what makes them liars by omission. Yes, mind you, that's even embedded into like stories. Have y'all ever? One thing why I don't like watching movies and a lot of shit, right, is because it's almost like I can already tell how it plays out. What any movie that y'all watch, pay attention to how this could all be avoided by as simple as somebody telling the full information. Like we don't even gotta go through this, but if you notice every movie that y'all watch, it'll play out the same exact way. They'll come and they'll have a conversation. They'll congregate with everybody together, and they'll leave out the most pertinent information of the situation. And I'll be like, this is why I don't like watching this shit. Because all it would take is for you to mention, like, this is the thing. This is what just happened. But instead, they leave out this, and then now you getting ready to get on my nerves because why you didn't tell them that? It's like a person coming along and you're not telling your husband that this person showed up at the house that day. Like, I wouldn't be good for that, because when this nigga show up, like, I'm calling the person. Like, babe, why is this person here? Like, in real life, I know that's not how it go, but apparently it go like that in somebody's life, because there's too many movies that's designed like that for it not to be a thing. Like, why are y'all missing the stuff? Why are you not saying something? It should be easy, but, apparently it's not.
Structurally, if people believed this manuscript, it could unravel not just faith, but the very fabric of what we call history. That's when they changed the classification from historical artifact to theological threat. Even the name they gave it, Mundus Periculosus, wasn't chosen lightly. It came from a suppressed text written in the 1400s by a monk who claimed to have seen visions of the world beneath this one, a place not of fire or punishment, but of knowledge too dense for the human mind to carry. According to him,
mind you, even in the book of Genesis, it talks about God created everything, as above, so below. Everything got created at the same time. So again,
accessing this world meant risking madness, or worse, remembering what humanity had chosen to forget for its own safety. The phrase had only appeared once in Vatican records before. Now it was back, branded onto a manuscript wrapped in obsidian leather and filled with words no one wanted to read out loud anymore. Behind the scenes, a different kind of order was unfolding. Security on the vault was increased. The researchers who had read even small fragments of the manuscript were sent to isolated postings or given mandatory sabbaticals. One reportedly tried to replicate a ritual from memory and ended up speaking a dead language for 3 days before collapsing from exhaustion. No one talks about the manuscript openly now. It's referred to only by initials or nicknames: the Codex, the Flame Book, the Forgetting Bible. But everyone who's worked in the archives knows exactly what it is and what it can do. The Vatican didn't lock it away because it was false. They locked it away because it might be true. And truth, when buried too deep, doesn't disappear. It waits. and sometimes it whispers. It was hidden in the margins, not in the manuscript itself, but in the Vatican's internal records. A side reference, barely a footnote in a document about artifact classifications. 3 words written in tight Latin script, Ordo Obscurae Eclipsi, the Order of the Eclipse. No one in the archive recognized the name. It wasn't listed in any known hierarchy, not in Jesuit rosters, Dominican rolls, or even the infamous Index Librorum Prohibitorum. And yet, its signature kept appearing, stamped on reports about Egyptian relics, scribbled on memos regarding restricted vault access.
And the funny part is, and again, they telling you that it's artifacts that come from Egypt and places. It don't belong to them, but for some reason they feel compelled to think that they should be the keepers of it. Where are the Egyptian people that these things belong to? And just so y'all know, Egypt and Africa, okay? So why is it that people think that they can continue to take stuff from Africa and house it in their own locations?
Always tied to one theme: suppression of magical knowledge. Most people think of the Vatican as a religious body.
Yes,
but in the shadows,
today.
It also functions as a filter. Not every.
She said, God get them. And I'm saying God get them with her because I am starting to notice a pattern. Like, for some reason, it's always the same exact thing. They go to other countries, rob and pillage, and then they will try to say that African, that the land is ignorant, it's this, that, third. But mind you, it's shit coming out of this place that you could manufacture yourself. So explain to me. Graham said, wasn't the Vatican non-existent until... No, hold on, let's see. I don't want to lie to you. So let's see. When was the Vatican so it's stuff coming out of these places that you can't even decipher. You don't even know. But meanwhile, explain it to me. It says created through the Lantern Treaty signed in 1929, agreement between the Holy See. So it says before 1929, the Pope did not have an independent country. So it establishes their country then. But the Papal States before were 1870. So the Pope ruled large areas of central Italy. I think we went over this already. So hey Jessica, love you. Thank you for being here. So Papal States before 1870, the Pope ruled. So he said, what was your question? Because you could be right and still. It's the same with the Jesuits. It's dependent upon what you asked. And what he said, who gave them authority to do all of the shit they did? That's what I'm trying to say. Was it the Vatican non-existent? So modern Vatican City started where they had that building in 1929. But the Vatican, the people, again, because I want to make sure we word this right. Because the Vatican as a modern independent state was officially established in 1929. So I guess what you asked is right. Okay? But anyway, because I think we have to be mindful of what they asked. Wasn't the Vatican non-existent until 1929? So the answer, how I would have to answer this is the Vatican as a modern independent state was officially established in 1929. But the Vatican, the people, as a group and situation, go way, way, way back. All right. So before 1870, the Pope ruled papal states. 1870, Italy takes Rome. 1929, Vatican City officially established, because this is when they moved away. Remember, I told you what happened. So it says the Vatican as a country was established in 1929, but the Catholic Church itself is much older, over 2,000 years old. So again, we got to remember to answer the question. All right. So Graham, that's the answer. You're welcome and thank you. That's why I said I look stuff up, because I don't want to lie to nobody, because I know that, you know, when they started, but also your question was specific. So, you know, again. Anyway, so the other part is this. The Vatican is taking authority as to they are the boss of everybody, whether or not anybody realizes it or not. Because, like he said, who the hell told them that they can go into a whole nother country? They ordered shit to be brought from other places to them. Now, what type of power do they got? Mind you, they want to talk about other places, but where they're pulling it from, it's stuff that they can't even interpret. They can't articulate it. So who the hell do you think you are that it should be with you for protection? And they will tell a whole great lie that, you know, oh, it's supposed to be given until when? Was it supposed to be given until the return of? Or are y'all afraid to, you know, but mind you, just so you know, I'm going to summon the shit back. If any of it belong to me, I'm already summoning. If any of it belong to y'all, y'all better do the same. Because guess what? Y'all won't even have to open up y'all vault. I already told it to come. Whether or not it's knowledge, information, or anything else, I won't even need the book. So, you know, do with that information what you will. But just know that if in fact they know that, you know, the earth is older than what they try to give, this is why they try to keep your mind small, because they don't want you to expand your mind to know that all I have to do is say it. Matter of fact, all I have to do is think it. I want it back. If it belonged to me from then till now and after that, anytime that I was on this earth, anything that I got that is on this earth that belongs to my energy, belongs to my DNA, I want it. So return it today. Not last week, not last month, on the way now. I asked for it already. So same scenario, because there are certain things that they can't touch, but guess what? And keep the Jesuits away from me. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to talk to them either. And in fact, just at this point, we ready for it all to be uncovered. And you ain't never lie. What Jess said, Jess, and she said that this whole world is weird with these weird ass people trying to hide the obvious. And it is because at this point now it's like a crackhead hiding behind a telephone pole. Like, you skinny as fuck, but we still see you. We still see you. We know that you have been doing this throughout time, throughout history. We know that you make the G call, bring it here. But who are you? Like, you already know that there's people there, you know, there's situations that are taking place, unfolding right here, right now, at this moment in time. Y'all knew that this time was going to exist. Y'all know that y'all had to return whatever it was. Send it back. Like, stop playing. Y'all already identified the people. Like, even if they can say, well, we don't know if it belonged to you, y'all know, because y'all do y'all due diligence. Y'all niggas show the fuck up. Y'all will send people. And I don't want nobody out here talking about, like, y'all out here trying to genetically, you know, modify and test people because y'all want people to forget this, that, and the third. But meanwhile, y'all actively letting the earth be destroyed. You can't tell me that you're on God's side and you're actively letting the earth be destroyed. Because as of now, it don't benefit y'all to return stuff that don't belong to y'all. Y'all know that this moment in time was going to come. Y'all knew at some point in time y'all got to pay the piper. Stop playing with us. Return the shit, state the names, and be done with it.
Everything gets
Go on and get.
Some things get hidden. Some truths get silenced. That's where the order of the eclipse comes in. According to the fragments uncovered, this secretive sect was created not to protect the faith, but to protect the illusion of history. Their symbol was simple: a black circle with a sliver of light, an eclipse. A world deliberately dimmed. The order dates back to at least the 17th century, though some
deliberately dim, meaning without light, meaning trying to keep you small, meaning trying to keep you hidden, meaning trying to keep you in the dark.
Outsiders believe it may have been formed much earlier, possibly right after the fall of Constantinople. Their mission was clear: track down all texts, artifacts, and oral traditions linked to what they called pre-biblical manipulation. In other words, Egyptian magic, especially anything tied to the keepers of the lightless flame. They weren't monks. They weren't even traditional clergy. They were trained historians, linguists, and in rare cases, exorcists. Their job wasn't just to hide objects. It was to bury meaning, rewrite translations, plant false footnotes, mistranslate key phrases, so that even if someone found a piece of the truth, they'd never understand what they were really looking at. A leaked document described one of their operations in Egypt during World War I. A hidden vault was discovered under a collapsed temple. Inside were scrolls that predated the Old Kingdom by centuries. One member of the team made the mistake of reading aloud from a partially translated glyph. He dropped dead within hours. The rest of the scrolls were burned. The site was flooded. And the surviving agent was sent back to Rome with a single...
You're supposed to drop dead if it's not yours. But instead of them doing the right thing, they burned it.
Phrase etched into stone. They remembered. The order's methods were precise. They didn't just remove things from the world. They made sure those things were forgotten. Books rewritten. Graves moved. Myths turned into parables.
And then this reminds me, y'all remember how, and it's the thing where they keep showing you stuff right in your face. These people have been playing in our face the whole entire time. Y'all remember the school motto, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
They understood something most institutions didn't. That the real power of ancient Egypt wasn't its monuments, it was its memory, and the eclipse existed to erase it. To this day, the Vatican won't acknowledge the order exists. But the seal is still used, still stamped on certain boxes, still whispered about in restricted libraries, because some shadows don't fade. Some were designed to last forever, and if the order is still active, it means they believe the danger isn't over. It's just been sleeping. They say it's not a word. Not really. Not the way we think of words. It's more like a vibration wrapped in breath, a sound that shapes the space around it. In the manuscript, buried deep between diagrams of mirrored pyramids and maps of the invisible realms, there's a passage about the first name of God, not the ones we see in prayers or scriptures, not Jehovah or Elohim, or even the sacred Tetragrammaton. This was something older, something hidden, something forgotten on purpose. The passage is written in a script that twists the eye, letters that loop in on themselves, and shift shape depending on the angle you're reading from. Scholars argued for months about whether it was meant to be read front to back or back to front, but one thing became clear. The name it described wasn't just a title, it was a key. According to the text, this name was uttered once, at the beginning of all things, a sound so perfect that it didn't just echo through creation, it defined it. Time, space, light, matter, all folded themselves around this one expression. It was the blueprint for reality itself. And then it vanished. Some say it was hidden by the gods to protect us. Others believe it was taken from us because we weren't ready.
But that's what happens when with things when it's supposed to be in existence, they reappear. And whether or not people realize it or not, people have found things, antiquities and things of that nature. Y'all be thrifting and all types of stuff, or it gets uncovered or unburied, during the time. So first things first, I trust my intuition and move with wisdom. My mind is clear, focused, and protected. I attract truth, peace, and divine alignment. I release fear and welcome understanding. I am grounded, aware, and emotionally balanced. My voice carries power, purpose, and authenticity. I am becoming more confident every day. I deserve abundance in every area of my life. My energy is valuable and I protect it wisely. I attract opportunities meant for me. I am creative, inspired, and overflowing with ideas. I trust the timing of my journey. I radiate confidence, peace, and strength. I choose growth over fear. Everything meant for me is finding me now. I am connected to purpose and guided with clarity. And I release what no longer serves me. I am worthy of love, success, and fulfillment. My presence has impact, and I walk in alignment with my higher self. Every day, we have to do a restoration of self, because every day there's an energy out that is trying to manipulate. And with that being said, this is the message. The truth sounds crazy until you connect the dots. The deeper you look, the weirder it gets, and why. But the more understanding that you have. So thank you guys for being here. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8:15. I love y'all. If you wish to donate towards my channel, like, comment, share, subscribe. That's the best way for you to help me. If you wish to donate to my GoFundMe or to anywhere else, super chat, super stickers, and my GoFundMe, and my Cash App is also listed. Everybody, thank you for being here and showing up, and do with the information what you will. Always seek for yourself. Go and look. Go ask God. Like I tell people all the time, ask God. Seeking you shall find. Ask God. Pray about it. Meditate on it. The things that you wish to find, the things that you wish to know in this universe and in this world, ask God, and I promise you it'll show up. Like, little do y'all know how quickly information will start to drop into your spirit. Don't allow nobody to control the narrative as to who you are or who you wish you could be at some point in time in life. Because if you allow them to control the narrative, they're always going to try to keep you small. On the grand scheme of things, the box is to keep you inside of these boundaries and never for you to expand upon that. I'm gonna also say this to y'all. One of the things that I learned during my Akashic record meditated guided meditation was this. If you can close your eyes right now, and for you to think of yourself, you need to expand yourself like a tree. So the world is this inside of here. I'm gonna say this, but the world is here, and you're a tree on the inside of it. Expand yourself both sides, the same way a tree grows up and down at the same time. Expand yourself inside of the world. Can you do that? And if you can think of yourself inside of the world, expand it. Now make yourself bigger. And remember, as above, so below. Excuse me. They want to hold you in this, but you have to be more than that. You are more than that. Your energy, your person, your being is infinite. And so if you can do that without a issue, without a problem, and it's kind of harder than most people actually think, being able to just lay back and make that tree grow. But also when you can make that tree grow to where it is outside of that, then your mind, your body, your spirit starts to follow. So don't ever let nobody hold you down. Don't ever let nobody make you feel like they're bigger or better than you. They know more than you. Because as y'all know, even in this time and space, it's people who are holding information that know nothing. You could be the thing that is needed and necessary in this system to be able to decipher something, to make something, make sense, or to bring awareness. Because remember, the what is it? We was talking about it in the middle of the night, Majestic Grace, the theory that they had, that all of the what is it called? That the two young girls solved. And these people, for years they said scholars were not able to solve this, but then they had to wait until the time, which was, this day, present day, for two young black girls to be able to solve the Pythagorean theorem. That's what it's called. And so they ended up, solving it, but it was because it wasn't for anybody else to do. It was for them to do it. And so you may be the very thing that gets inserted into this system in order for something to be cleared up, something to be understood, something to be, evolved. So don't let nobody, I don't care where they come from, who they think they are. And again, they will try to tell you that, Egypt in its own self, African, this, that, and third. They try to make it seem like it's small, but meanwhile, they can't decipher a lot of the things that they had to lie. They had to lie in order to, make themselves feel better. And they do it on a daily basis. One thing that you can make sure that you never do for yourself, don't ever lie to yourself, and don't allow them to make you lie to yourself. So with that being said, I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here, and always go with God. Y'all have the day that y'all deserve, and so will I.